as we drift beyond the sun's last ember into a silence older than time? Can the promise of unknown constellations sustain the spark within us when home becomes a fading legend, lost in the star-swept wake? What new myth will we write in the ink of interstellar night? Nightfall on Earth unfolds gently. As the sun's warm glow sinks below the horizon, the sky turns from amber to deep indigo. A soft hush settles over the land. The first stars begin to shimmer faintly, almost shyly, against the twilight. Here and there a single bright star appears, like a silent greeting in the vast darkness. The silhouettes of trees and hills deepen and blur in the fading light, and a calm stillness settles over everything. We breathe slowly, feeling the cool evening air drift across our skin, as if the world is exhaling with us. It is as if the very earth has drawn a velvet cloak of night around her shoulders, tucking in the day with a gentle finality. Slowly, more stars reveal themselves. At first, only a few, then many more, until the sky is sprinkled with tiny points of light. Out in the countryside, away from city glare, the Milky Way begins to awaken. Like a soft silver river across the heavens, its faint creamy band stretches from horizon to horizon. We gaze upward, mesmerized. The evening breeze carries the quiet chirping of crickets and the rustle of leaves, and overhead, the universe is coming to life with a tranquil glow. Each star tells a story, or at least hints at one. Stories of distant suns and far-off worlds. Here, under the newly deepened night sky, we feel small, yet strangely connected to all of it. The night deepens. Above, the sky has turned fully to a rich, dark blue. Countless stars have emerged, cool and distant, flickering softly in the quiet. The air feels crisp and still, and our surroundings fade away as we focus only on the sky. If we shift our gaze just a little, we see the faint red glow of a nebula from our galaxy, or the gleam of Jupiter if it's visible tonight. Constellations take shape one by one. Perhaps the slender belt of Orion slashes across the sky, or the Great Bear, Ursa Major, points us toward the north. But even without naming them, the stars feel familiar and timeless. They have been shining for millennia, casting their light across the vastness, touching the same earth on which we stand now. In this peaceful moment, a feeling of wonder grows inside us. Beneath our feet, the earth is bathed in moonlight and shadow. Above, the sky stretches wide and infinite. We might almost imagine that we could step into the air and float up toward those distant points of light. There is a mysterious lure to the night sky, as if it is both near and impossibly far at the same time. We close our eyes briefly and listen to the rustle of wind through grass, to the distant hoot of an owl, reminding us we are still on Earth, still here, even as our minds drift among the stars. The boundary between Earth and sky blurs in the dark. Beneath the Milky Way now, we feel the grandeur of the galaxy overhead. The Milky Way arches like a pale river of light across the sky, its shimmering trail sprinkled with stars that are very far away. On nights like this, when the sky is clear and the air is still, the band of our home galaxy is especially bright. We watch as it gradually moves across the sky, a glowing bridge to the cosmos. Gazing up, we can almost perceive the ghostly clouds of stellar dust and glowing gas that lie within it. though our eyes only pick out countless pinpoints. Each cluster of light is a distant sun, each flicker a beacon from another world. As we stand silently beneath the Milky Way, we feel a deep sense of connection to something much larger than ourselves. The ground beneath our feet, cooled by the fading day, anchors us to this spot, but our hearts and minds feel drawn upward, outwards. It's as though the galaxy is whispering secrets to us through its starlight. We imagine ancient explorers and dreamers who must have felt the same pull, who saw those same stars and wondered what mysteries they held. In this moment, the Milky Way feels like a gateway, a soft invitation to embark on a journey that has always been part dream, part destiny. We stay there, wrapped in quiet awe, until finally an idea takes hold in our minds. That gentle stir of thought says, why not journey outward? Why not step beyond this quiet field and let the stars guide us? With night as our blanket and the Milky Way as our compass, we feel ourselves ready for something new. The journey begins like a dream. One moment we are standing on Earth under the starry sky, and the next we are lifting upward, as if borne on a gentle wind of imagination. We are now on board a silent ship, gliding through the darkness. Earth recedes slowly below us. Its familiar blues and greens shrink and blend as we rise. The layer of atmosphere is thin now, just a pale skin around the planet, tinted with sunset pink before it fades into the void. The sun, once a brilliant golden disk, becomes just a bright point far behind us. We drift past the moon. It too grows small and distant. From here, our home is a glowing marble suspended in the cosmos, wrapped in thin swirls of clouds and crowned by the arc of night. We feel weightless. The gentle hum of life on board is barely more than a whisper as we glide further away, faster than the slow rotation of Earth itself. With each moment, more stars fill our view as Earth's atmosphere falls away, and the Milky Way is no longer just above us. It envelops us on all sides, a luminous veil of celestial light around this tiny craft. In the silent darkness beyond Earth orbit, we are surrounded by the light of 1,000 suns. Our spacecraft continues on a steady course. Perhaps out the window, the sun appears as a bright golden star, its rays diminishing. Soon its warmth is just a faint memory. Around us now is the true night of space, a deep, complete darkness, yet star fields in every direction. In the distance, we might glimpse planets we passed. Mars, a dim red dot, Jupiter still a pale glow. But each one grows smaller behind us as we travel on. Beyond the solar shores, we find ourselves truly alone in the cosmic sea. The sun's influence, once so strong that we could warm ourselves by it, is now almost gone. We have crossed an invisible boundary, the edge of our solar family's reach, and a new vastness opens up before us. The warmth of the sun is faint now, just a pale point in the distance. Even the planets are left behind, shrinking quickly into the black. We gaze ahead into a space that feels strangely empty, yet full of potential. Here at the outskirts, we float for a moment on the threshold of the unknown. The blackness around us is thicker than before, yet not entirely empty. Tiny particles of ice and dust drift past, remnants of star systems long forgotten, glinting only when they catch starlight. We remain gentle and steady, as if sailing on a calm cosmic ocean. The silence is complete. Sound no longer travels in this vacuum. In place of noise, there is only the calm, steady rhythm of our own thoughts. Far away behind us is the last touch of warmth from the sun's rays. Gone now. Ahead is an uncharted darkness that seems immense. A canvas yet to be painted. Into the interstellar sea we venture. The stars around us are no longer just the ones in our night sky. They are countless and new. Our craft moves calmly among them. We pass near lonely stars, like the centaurs of old myths. Alpha Centauri's trio, for instance, or Sirius's distant shine. They come and go in the windows of our ship as we keep our steady course. Occasionally, a gentle twinkle catches our eye, possibly a flare from a far-off sun, or the hint of a nebula's glow. The cosmic ocean is full of wonders. Far ahead, we glimpse nebulae, vast clouds of gas and dust that glow softly with the light of unborn stars. They drift in space like colourful ghosts. Every now and then, a cluster of young stars sparkles like a distant chandelier, each point a sun still very young. Yet we do not hurry. We continue at our own slow pace, letting the scenery unfold around us peacefully. The silence remains soothing. Our minds wander through thoughts of other worlds, nebulae, and galaxies. As we travel deeper, constellations from Earth's sky lose their meaning. Here, new patterns of stars could hint at legends of their own, invisible from where we came. We are adrift in a sea of night, surrounded by pinpricks of light, so dense that sometimes it seems day could break anywhere we look. The Milky Way itself, our galaxy, is as vast as it was from Earth, but now we can see its subtle curve around us. The arms of our galaxy stretch out beyond every window. We feel a sense of calm determination. This is not a frantic race. It is an odyssey. The journey is gentle, like drifting in a dark river of time. We have no need to rush. Instead, we are learning the rhythm of this place. We let ourselves be lured by its quiet beauty. Each star and nebula we pass teaches us something about patience and wonder. Behind us, Earth is now merely a memory, a story told by a tiny point of light that we once called home. Ahead, the galaxy sprawls in silence. But we do not feel lost. Instead, we feel like humble voyagers who have always belonged among the stars, even if we needed a journey like this to realize it. This voyage is only just beginning. In the gentle dark of space, we carry on, eyes wide and hearts open. We are at peace. The endless expanse stretches before us, whispering of discoveries and horizons beyond sight. And as we drift on, we know that the tale of our travels will unfold further. The cosmos is patient, and so are we. The stars have many more secrets, and we will gently seek them out, one by one, on this calm, starlit voyage that seems to have no end. Our story will continue. With each moment, we draw a little closer to the heart of the galaxy, guided by the tranquil light of the stars. The journey out there among the heavens is just beginning, and the night is full of promise. Each breath we take is a quiet promise to explore, to drift, and to wonder, as the Milky Way itself whispers us onward into the great beyond. The darkness beyond our solar system is vast and silent. As we drift farther from the sun's warm glow, we find ourselves enveloped in an endless night. The stars around us no longer appear as distant pinpricks on a flat sky. They are individual beacons scattered in three-dimensional space. Each one shines with its own subtle colour and brightness. Our home star, the Sun, now blends into this stellar backdrop, a modest yellow star among countless others, quickly becoming just another point of light in the cosmic ocean. Far behind us now lies the outer frontier of our home system, the distant halo of comets known as the Oort cloud. Those frozen wanderers marked the last tenuous presence of the Sun's influence. Having passed beyond them, we have well and truly stepped outside the solar cradle and into the realm between the stars. The Sun is now just another star in the sky behind us, its familiar light a fading memory in this vastness. Without a nearby sun, darkness is nearly absolute. We are between the stars, in a realm that is neither one place nor another. Occasionally, we might see a tiny flicker, a distant cosmic ray zipping past, born of some ancient stellar explosion, piercing the void with ghostly energy. But there is no glow of dawn or dusk here, no horizon to mark our passage, only the steady, eternal midnight of interstellar space. Only a faint whisper of ancient light permeates here, the afterglow of the universe's birth, a background of microwaves that gently bathes space at a mere few degrees above absolute zero. Aside from that subtle, invisible glow, the void is utterly cold and lightless. In this profound stillness, time itself seems to pause. With no rising or setting sun to mark the hours, we slip into a meditative rhythm. There is something transformative about such solitude. It strips away hurry and worry, leaving a quiet awareness of simply being. We find our thoughts slow to match the pace of the stars drifting around us. Far from feeling fear, we feel peace, a gentle assurance that even in this deep loneliness, we are connected to everything. Each heartbeat echoes in the silence, reminding us that we too are part of the cosmos, a tiny spark of life amid the dark sea. As we drift on, we think of how far we have come and how far there is to go. Crossing even a single light year at our imagined pace takes patience and wonder. Were we travelling with the technology of today, this journey between neighbouring stars would last tens of thousands of years. Yet in our mind's eye, we allow time to blur. We envision ourselves moving in a tranquil, slow dance across the cosmos, unconcerned with human scales of time. Our voyage is measured not in hours or days, but in the soft heartbeat of the galaxy itself. In the vast distances between stars, we find a new perspective on motion. With no nearby reference points, it feels as though we're standing still, even as we cover trillions of miles. The stars ahead brighten imperceptibly slowly. Those behind us dim just as gradually. Even our own sun, left far behind us now, has dwindled to a mere speck of light among the others. Hard to distinguish at all, without knowing exactly where to find it. The change is so subtle that only after long periods do we notice that what was once a faint speck has grown into a discernible star ahead. It is a gentle reminder of how immense these distances are. Progress is real, but nearly invisible when watched moment to moment. We pass through invisible frontiers. Long ago, we left the boundaries of our sun's influence, the heliopause, where the solar wind gives way to the thin breath of the galaxy. Now we might be crossing into the fringes of another star's domain, where the faint pressure of that star's stellar wind begins to be detectable. But this handover between stars is not marked by any obvious sign. There is no border checkpoint in space, just a gradual change in particle densities and magnetic fields far beyond our sensing. To us, everything seems the same: quiet, dark, and serene. Every so often, our solitude is broken by a tiny visitor from afar. In the blackness, a small object tumbles by, a rogue wanderer in the interstellar deep. It could be a lonely comet, an exile from some distant star's outer cloud, cast out ages ago and now drifting endlessly. Or perhaps a rogue planet, a world without a sun, wandering the galaxy in eternal night. Such vagabonds are rare, but the galaxy is ancient and full of surprises. We catch only the slightest glimpse as one of these travellers crosses our path. A faint glint of starlight reflecting off an icy surface, or a subtle shift in gravity felt by our instruments. Then it is gone, swallowed once more by the emptiness. The encounter lasts mere moments in our long journey, but it leaves us with a profound impression. We realize that even in what seems like complete emptiness, there can be secrets, remnants of worlds and systems cast adrift between the stars. Moving farther on, we notice that the interstellar medium itself is not entirely uniform. There are regions where the density of gas and dust is a touch higher, still incredibly tenuous by earthly standards, but enough to matter over light years. We might drift through a wispy cloud of hydrogen atoms, a remnant of an ancient nebula that has expanded and thinned out. If we could see it with sensitive eyes, it might glow faintly from the soft irradiation of nearby starlight, or fluoresce with a faint, ultraviolet-induced luminescence. These clouds are like the whispers of long-gone stars, their material blown into space to mix and mingle over eons. Passing through such a ghostly cloud, we feel connected to events that happened millions of years ago. A supernova that once blasted these atoms outward, or a primordial cloud that birthed stars long before our sun was born. Through the endless night, the constancy of the distant stars provides orientation. We navigate by their light, much as ancient mariners did on the open sea. Except here, the stars surround us on all sides, above and below, with no horizon in sight. If we pause and turn off any onboard lights, the view is breathtaking. A sphere of darkness pricked by countless stars in every direction. There is no up or down. For the first time, we truly feel we are in the middle of a great galaxy, rather than looking at it from a corner. The Milky Way band, the combined glow of billions of distant stars, forms a subtle ribbon around us. On Earth, we see it as a milky arch across the sky on a dark night. Out here, floating within it, the light is all around, a gentle, diffuse luminescence that gives the darkness a texture. We are home in the galaxy's vastness, yet also very far from any home we have ever known. As we continue to drift, we become aware of the profound stillness of this journey. Without day and night, our minds are tuned to other rhythms. Perhaps the slow rotation of our ship to keep stable, or the periodic flash of a distant pulsar's beam, softly blinking in the distance like a cosmic lighthouse. A pulsar might lie many light years away, yet its regular pulses, maybe once every few seconds, add a faint metronome to time's flow out here. Each pulse is the dying heartbeat of a long-dead, massive star, now a spinning neutron star. Its presence is subtle, a distant flicker in the corner of our awareness, but steady. In the absence of a rising or setting sun, we take comfort in this far-off rhythm, a reminder that time still moves forward. Drifting between suns, we ponder the space around us. In this vast expanse, our nearest company might be a tiny speck of dust or a stray atom that we meet as we travel. The thought is both humbling and liberating. We are alone, yet connected to all of creation. The atoms that surround us are the same kinds that make up our bodies and our world. They simply float here in solitude until one day, perhaps gravity or chance, pulls them into a new star or planet. We are passing through raw potential, material that could, in the far future, become part of a new sun or a new home for life. In this way, the emptiness is not really empty. It is full of possibilities, given enough time and the right conditions. After a long while in the darkness, our eyes and our instruments detect a change ahead. What was once the black of space now shows a faint, cloudy glow. At first, it is barely perceptible, like a smudge on the canvas of night. But as we draw closer, it becomes clearer. We are approaching a region where interstellar matter is no longer so invisible. A vast nebula lies in our path, a congregation of gas and dust illuminated by starlight. It floats in the darkness like a distant cloud, waiting for us to arrive. Its edges are subtle against the void, but unmistakably present, glowing in soft hues of red and blue. This is a stellar nursery, or perhaps the remnant of a star long gone. Either way, a place where the night is not empty, but alive with a gentle radiance. Our tranquil journey between suns is guiding us into a new realm of wonder. Ahead, the nebula beckons, its diffuse light a welcome change from the deep darkness. We prepare to leave the utter emptiness behind and enter this cosmic cloud. Within its depths, new stories of creation and transformation await us. With quiet anticipation, we drift forward, ready to explore the starry nursery hidden in the dark. We glide into the glowing nebula, crossing the threshold from darkness into a realm of ethereal light. All around us, the void gives way to a delicate haze. It's as if we have entered a vast cosmic cloud, hanging in the emptiness of space like a phantom. The starlight from young suns embedded within this nebula paints the gas and dust in gentle colours, soft pinks and purples where hydrogen glows, and faint blues where starlight reflects off tiny dust grains. We feel as though we are drifting through an immense, translucent cathedral, its walls formed by nebular filaments and curtains that billow and shimmer. Bright stars, newly born, shine as the chandeliers of this celestial hall, illuminating their birth cloud from within. As our eyes adjust, we begin to discern shapes in the nebula. Dark lanes of thicker dust weave through the luminous gas, forming twisting silhouettes against the glowing background. These are the nurseries within the nursery. Where dust is densest, it blots out the light behind it, creating inky black regions. Inside those obscuring cocoons, new stars are taking shape even now, hidden deep in darkness. They hide like embryos in a womb, not yet visible in the light we see, but perhaps with other eyes, infrared eyes that sense heat, one would glimpse the warm glows of protostars nestled deep in their dusty cradles. We drift past one such region, a thick knot of cloud that appears almost solid in contrast to the filigree around it. In truth, it is still mostly vacuum, but dense enough that gravity is drawing it inward, tighter and tighter, until one day it will ignite into a star. In that moment, the dark cocoon will tear apart, and a new sun will emerge, lighting up the nebula in celebration of its birth. Deeper into the nebula we travel, and the view opens up into vast chambers of glowing gas. Here, the gas is thinner, pushed away by intense starlight and winds from young massive stars that have now moved on or died. The walls of this cavity are radiant, their edges fluorescing as ultraviolet light from nearby stars causes the gas to glow like neon in a lamp. Along one wall, we see towering pillars of dark dust and gas thrusting into the cavity, backlit by the nebula's diffuse glow. They are colossal structures, light years tall. Even our entire solar system would be but a speck against one of these monumental columns of dust. Yet they drift almost imperceptibly, slowly eroding under the assault of stellar radiation. At their tips, new stars are forming, like golden embers at the ends of smoky tendrils. It's a scene both tranquil and dynamic, serene to our time-limited eyes. Yet in the long view of time, these pillars are being sculpted and blown away, grain by grain. We recall images we have seen of places like this, taken by telescopes that peered across light years to capture these cosmic vistas. Now we are inside such an image, surrounded by its reality. The famous pillars of creation are no longer distant photographs, but living structures looming before us, silently giving birth to stars. We float by one pillar, close enough to sense its silhouette, cutting off the light of the backdrop. If we could get closer still, we might find a small cluster of infant stars tucked into its tip, their nascent fusion fires just kindling. Jets of energized particles stream from some newborn stars, piercing holes through the surrounding clouds and announcing their arrival. The nebula is alive with the processes of creation, though all is hushed in the vacuum of space. We witness gigantic forces at work, yet everything appears peaceful and slow. It is like watching a candle flame frozen in time, knowing that if we sped up the clock, we would see turbulent motion, the birth and death of pillars, the ignition of stars, and eventually the dispersal of this cloud. Amid the glowing gas, we encounter a cluster of young stars huddled together. They are the recent graduates of this stellar nursery, siblings born from the same cloud. Some are hot, blue-white giants that will blaze briefly and die in a few million years. Others are smaller, steadier stars that may live for billions of years and perhaps host planets of their own someday. These stars are still surrounded by remnants of the nebula that gave them life. Faint disks and halos of dust encircle some of them, potential planetary systems in the making. Starlight pours out in all directions, casting intricate shadows in the remaining cloud. The interplay of light and shadow creates a scene of otherworldly beauty. Bright regions, where the radiation breaks through, contrasted with adjacent dark pockets, lying in the lee of dense clumps. The cluster's collective light forms the heart of the nebula's glow, much as a campfire might illuminate the walls of a vast cavern. We pause here in the center of the nebula's cradle to marvel at the cycle unfolding around us. The dust beneath our ship, if we scooped some into our hands, is made of ancient elements forged in stars long gone. Carbon, silicates, bits of ice. These grains drifted for eons in the galaxy before gravity gathered them here. Now they coalesce into new suns and planets. We realize in a profound moment that we are literally watching cosmic recycling and rebirth. The very substance from which future worlds will be built is floating and glowing all around us. Given time, some of this glowing mist will condense into solid ground for new Earths, and some of the sparkling lights we see will warm new skies. The nebula has its own gentle sounds, if one could hear them. Not through air, of course, but in the frequencies of light and energy. Stars emit winds of particles that push on the gas, creating waves and ripples. If we translate those waves into sound, perhaps there would be a soft murmur or a deep, slow tone accompanying the light. In our minds, we almost sense it, a harmonic hum of creation, resonating through the glowing clouds. It is a lullaby of star birth, playing out in silence, visible only to our eyes and instruments. Drifting further, we venture toward the fringes of the nebula again, where the glow starts to fade into the surrounding darkness. Here the nebula's light meets the night. The edges are irregular, wispy tendrils stretching outward and gradually dissipating. Tiny sparkling points at the nebula's boundary reveal themselves to be not stars, but clusters of stars in formation, appearing as one from afar. These will drift apart over millions of years, spreading out into the galaxy as open clusters. We are witnessing just one snapshot in time of a process that has occurred countless times across the Milky Way. Every shining star we have ever seen was once inside a nebula like this, cradled in gas and dust until it could stand on its own. As we prepare to leave this stellar nursery, we take a final panoramic look around. It strikes us that from a great distance, this entire magnificent cloud, with all its colours and newborn stars, would appear as a mere faint patch of light. In fact, inhabitants of Earth have observed this nebula for centuries as a hazy spot in the night sky. They catalogued it, studied it with telescopes, and marvelled at long-exposure photographs revealing its true form. Yet to the naked eye, it still looks like a smudge amidst the stars. Here and now, within it, we see it for what it truly is, a bustling workshop of creation. High above the nebula's luminous veil, familiar stars pattern the sky. In the case of this nebula, those stars form part of an ancient constellation. We recall that from Earth's perspective, this very cloud lies in the sword of Orion, the hunter. In the night sky, Orion's outline is drawn by bright stars: Betelgeuse, Rigel, Bellatrix, Scythe, and the three in his belt. Hanging from that belt is a line of stars that make up the hunter's sword. And the middle star of that sword is not a star at all, but the glow of the nebula we are now leaving. The thought is enchanting. What was once just a misty speck to human eyes is in fact a colossal nursery of stars. Ancient peoples saw a mighty hunter in these stars, unaware that his sword hid a womb of new suns. As we exit the nebula and the brilliant colours begin to recede, we carry with us this dual perspective. We have witnessed the hidden reality behind the constellation's lore. Now, as we drift onward, we turn our gaze to the stars that outline these cosmic figures, the same stars that guided myth and navigation for our ancestors, will be our guideposts as we continue our journey across the Milky Way. Emerging from the nebula's embrace, we find ourselves once again under a grand tapestry of stars. Without the colourful glow of the nebula around us, the night is deep and clear. As we gaze outward, patterns begin to emerge from the scatter of lights. Our minds, trained by millennia of stargazing, instinctively connect the dots. We recognize familiar groupings of stars that stand out against the chaos. Here, many light years from Earth, we are surprised to find comfort in these patterns. The constellations that humans have named and followed for ages still shine as if to greet us. Orion, with his bright shoulder, and belt of 3 stars still strides across the sky. The Great Bear stretches out her 7 stars in a dipper shape. Scorpius curves its tail of stars as if guarding the southern sky. These shapes have been our companions since ancient times, and even now, in the emptiness of space, they make us feel a little less alone. It is remarkable that wherever humans have lived under the sky, they have looked up and found pictures among the stars. The constellations we know are one set of stories. Ancient Greeks saw heroes, hunters, and monsters. Perseus with his sword, Andromeda chained to her rock, mighty Hercules, and the many-headed Hydra. But elsewhere in the world, others looked at the very same stars and saw different tales. The great pattern of the Big Dipper, for example, was seen by Native Americans as a bear chased by hunters, while medieval Europeans imagined it a wagon or plough, and in China, those stars were part of the celestial bureaucrat's chariot. Yet across all cultures, the act of connecting stars into meaningful shapes is universal. Under a sky full of lights, our ancestors painted the heavens with their hopes and myths. Each constellation became a bridge between human life and the vast unknown, a way to bring the sky's mystery a bit closer to home. And not all celestial figures were drawn with stars. Aboriginal Australians, for instance, saw the shape of a great emu formed by the dark dust clouds of the Milky Way, an outline of shadow where others saw only void. We drift in our ship and let time blur, allowing ourselves to be simply watchers of the stars as countless generations before us. We think of a lone traveller in the ancient world, perhaps a sailor on a calm, dark sea, centuries ago, standing on the deck of a wooden ship. Around him, the ocean is endless and black, but above, the stars burn clear. He finds the pattern of the Great Bear and follows its pointer stars to find the North Star, Polaris, glimmering steadily. By that star, he knows his direction, northward, and gains the comfort that he is not lost. Or imagine a caravan guide in the Sahara long ago, after the sun's cruel heat has fled, using the placement of familiar star groups to navigate dunes that have no roads. The stars were their map and compass when the Earth offered no clues. Far out in the Pacific Ocean, a navigator in a double-hulled canoe once watched the night sky as faithfully as any instrument. Without compass or sextant, he memorized the rising and setting points of the stars on the horizon. He knew that when a certain bright star would climb out of the eastern sea, it would align with his intended island destination far beyond the horizon. Guided by that star, and many others, like an invisible road map, he could traverse thousands of miles of open water, finding tiny islands in the vast blue expanse with astounding accuracy. Even now, far from any planet, we find ourselves guided by these same eternal lights. Our spacecraft's navigation system quietly takes cues from star patterns to orient itself in space, a modern echo of what those ancient navigators did with just their eyes. In the silence of our cabin, a sensor locks onto the brilliant beacon of Vega or Arcturus, using their known positions to calibrate our journey. We realize that for all our advanced technology, we still rely on the stars' fixed presence. They are the landmarks of the cosmos. Lose sight of them, and one could drift unknowingly into the void. With them, one always has a reference, a way to get bearings amid the infinite. As we float further along, we can't help but notice subtle changes in the familiar constellations. Here, in the depths of space, we are no longer on Earth's surface, and our perspective has shifted. The change is slight, but real. The patterns are not quite as we remember. At first, these differences are disorienting. It's as if the sky itself has changed the rules. But then we smile, realizing that we are seeing the constellations in 3 dimensions, as they truly are. What on earth looked like flat drawings on the dome of the sky are revealed here as a scattered sea of stars at various distances. We have moved enough that the illusion shifts. It is a poignant reminder that the constellations are only accidents of viewpoint. If we travel far enough, those old pictures break apart and new ones form. It's akin to recognizing an old friend who has grown older or changed attire. The essence is familiar, even if some details differ. This realization deepens our appreciation for the explorers of old. They only ever knew the sky from one vantage, and from that, they navigated entire oceans. Here we are, actually moving among the stars, and we can still use their ancient knowledge. We gently realign our own mental map of the constellations to account for our shift in perspective, much like a sailor updating his chart after drifting off course. The constellations remain our guide. They not only tell us where we are, but also connect us to where we came from. We also remember that the Milky Way itself has served as a celestial guide. That pale river of light, which we now know to be the combined glow of countless distant stars, was seen by various cultures as a pathway in the heavens. To the Maori of New Zealand, it was the long, shining cloud. To the ancient Greeks, it was milk spilled by a goddess, hence the name Milky Way. Some called it the backbone of night. For enslaved people in the American South, songs spoke of the drinking gourd, using the Big Dipper's shape to guide those escaping north. The Milky Way might have shone above them, lighting a path in the darkest hours. Under this band of light, humans found direction and solace, believing perhaps that it glowed so brightly to illuminate their way, or to remind them of the larger universe holding its breath above. As our ship coasts silently on, we turn off our instruments for a moment and simply look outward with human eyes, as our ancestors did. We orient ourselves by the stars. It is a freeing experience. Here, there are no roads, no signs, and yet we do not feel lost. Over there, that tight cluster of stars is the Pleiades, the 7 sisters, just as small and enchanting as when seen from a backyard telescope. We know that in some old tales, those stars were thought to be 7 maidens pursued by Orion across the sky. We find the Pleiades now and see them shining, a tiny dipper-shaped shimmer. Nearby we trace the V-shape of the Hyades, marking the face of Taurus the bull, with the red giant Aldebaran glowing as the bull's fiery eye. These patterns reassure us that the stars we are passing by are indeed the same stars seen from Earth, only now we roam among them. It's as if we have stepped into a familiar painting, now able to examine the brushstrokes from within. The constellations do more than guide our navigation. They connect us emotionally to home. Each pattern carries stories of love, heroism, tragedy, and hope that were passed down through generations. When we see the Southern Cross poised above the horizon, we recall the navigators of the Pacific, who used it and other star patterns to voyage vast distances between tiny islands with astounding accuracy. When we catch sight of Leo the Lion rising, we think of how that signaled spring to the Romans, or how the Sphinx in Egypt might have been aligned to its stars long ago. The stars are a library of human experience, as much as they are celestial bodies. Out here, drifting in darkness, we can almost hear whispers of those ancient stories and teachings carried on starlight. We feel like time travelers in a way, connected to every observer who ever looked up in wonder. Guided by these constellations, we carry onward through the galaxy. Their ancient shapes gently point the way to the next leg of our journey. Ahead, we might choose to follow the plane of the Milky Way, moving toward the thick star clouds of Sagittarius, where the core of our galaxy lies hidden behind veils of dust. Or we might let the constellation of Andromeda lead our gaze outward to a faint blur at its edge, the great Andromeda galaxy, a whole other island of stars beyond our own, hinting at journeys for another time. For now, we remain within our Milky Way, letting its star patterns give us a sense of direction and belonging. We know that as long as we can find recognizable stars and constellations, we will never be truly lost. They are our eternal signposts, linking our small vessel to the grand design of the cosmos. Under this star-stitched sky, we drift gently and confidently. The constellations above seem to watch over us like old friends, reminding us that no matter how far we venture, we are still part of the same story written in the stars. With their guidance, we feel ready to journey onward, deeper into the night, following the map that is etched in lights across the heavens. We drift onward into the starry expanse, aware that in doing so, we are moving not only through space, but also through time. Every beam of starlight that reaches our eyes is a messenger from the past. Out here in the darkness, the truth of that becomes almost palpable. We are surrounded by ancient light. As we look up, or what we perceive as up in this zero gravity, at the myriad of stars, we realize that each glimmer is a story that began long before it meets us. The sky above is not just a picture painted in the present moment. It is a mosaic of many different eras of history, all shining together. Consider the nearest stars we visited earlier. The light from Alpha Centauri, just over 4 light-years away, left it about 4 years ago, around the time we ourselves began this imagined voyage. In those photons arriving now is the state of that star from 4 years in the past. Our sun's closest companion is showing us a recent memory of itself. The brilliant star Sirius sends us its dazzling rays across 8.5 light-years. The light reaching us tonight departed Sirius roughly 8.5 years ago, when the goings-on of nearly a decade past were unfolding back on Earth. If we turn our gaze to the reddish sparkle of Betelgeuse in Orion, we are seeing light that departed that star around 600 years ago, a time when medieval villages hummed with life and knights on horseback roamed lands that are now modern cities. And far beyond, the delicate glow of the Orion Nebula that we just traversed has taken over 1,000 years to reach us, meaning that while that light began its journey, early astronomers on Earth were using primitive instruments to study the skies, unaware of the cosmic nursery hidden in Orion's sword. The farther we look, the more profound the time shift. There are stars so distant that their light has been travelling since long before the rise of modern civilization. High overhead, the star Deneb in the constellation Cygnus shines with a gentle radiance. It lies thousands of light-years away. The photons hitting our ship from Deneb right now left its surface roughly 2.5 millennia ago, around the time ancient Greeks were founding new cities, and the age of classical philosophy was dawning. To stare at Deneb is to glimpse something of the world as it was 25 centuries in the past. And beyond our Milky Way's boundaries, if we allow our eyes to wander to a faint blur on the dark canvas, we find the Andromeda Galaxy, a vast island of stars outside our own. It is faint, but visible as an elongated smudge. The light from Andromeda has been en route for over 2 million years. Those rays left their source when early humans were not much more than upright walking apes, learning to make simple tools on the African savannas. Now, after an epic journey across intergalactic space, that ancient light greets our eyes. We are literally witnessing a time before our species existed. Surrounded by these relic rays, we feel like time travelers. The present moment here in our spacecraft is intertwined with countless moments from the distant past. It is a humbling and almost magical experience. In one glance, we can take in stars as they were when pyramids were young, when Rome was an empire, when our grandparents were children, or when Earth itself was unknown to any intelligent gaze. The universe has been shining all this time, and only now does that light reach us to tell its tale. We become keenly aware that the night sky is a kind of cosmic memory vault. Each star is a record of a particular era and place. The galaxy itself holds its memory in the glow of its stars and nebulae. By studying the colours and patterns of that light, astronomers on Earth have learned to read these stellar memories, deciphering which stars are young or old, which carry the chemical fingerprints of long-dead stars in their spectrum, which might have formed when the galaxy was a wild, youthful swirl. We recall that within our lifetimes, telescopes like Hubble and Webb have looked deep into space and time, capturing light from galaxies billions of years old. Though those lie far beyond our Milky Way, the principle is the same. To look far is to look back. In our own small way now, without any instruments but our eyes and imagination, we appreciate this truth viscerally. The sky we see is indeed a patchwork of many different epochs. As we continue our silent voyage, an intriguing thought arises. Not only do we receive ancient light, but we also send out light of our own into the cosmos. The sun's glow, reflected off Earth or broadcast via our radio transmitters, has been travelling outward for over a century. Somewhere far away, 50 or 100 light-years distant, a faint radio wave bearing the crackling voice of a long-gone broadcaster or the melody of a bygone era's song is moving through the stars. If there were observers out there with the right instruments, they could right now be catching echoes of our 1920s jazz, or the speeches and news of times past, as if ghosts of another age are whispering across space. It's a reminder that just as we look out and see others' history, the universe may one day look back and see ours. The darkness around us is not truly dark once you understand that it is filled with these travelling messages. A photon does not age or tire during its journey. It faithfully carries its energy and information until it encounters something like our eyes or a detector. So the light reaching us now is fresh in a sense, even though it's been moving for eons. It is as if time stands still for these flying pieces of energy until they complete their long trek. And when they do, they impart a bit of their story to whoever is there to observe. Sometimes, if we are lucky, the sky itself will offer a dramatic demonstration of light's long journey. We might witness a sudden new star appearing where none was visible before, a supernova blazing out in a remote corner of the galaxy. To the naked eye, it might seem a new star has been born out of nothing. But in truth, this is the final flash of a star that may have exploded tens of thousands of years ago, the news of its death only now reaching our location. Were we to see such an event on our voyage, we would marvel at its transient brilliance, knowing we are watching a long-completed cosmic catastrophe play out in delayed broadcast. Long ago, in July of 1054, Chinese astronomers recorded a guest star that shone even in daytime for weeks. Today we know that was a supernova in our galaxy, and the beautiful Crab Nebula is its aftermath, the embers and ash of a star's demise. But the people of 1054 could not have known that the star actually died around 6,500 years before they saw its light. To them, it was a strange new star in the sky, a heavenly event with perhaps mystical significance. We carry that knowledge with us, that the universe is full of such illusions of immediacy, when in reality, everything we see is a story unfolding on a grand delay. Realizing this, we feel a gentle kinship with all stargazers of the past. We, aboard our ship, may have moved far from Earth, but in looking at the stars, we share the same fundamental experience as an ancient scholar scanning the heavens from a Babylonian ziggurat, or a curious child gazing up from a quiet countryside before the age of electricity. All of us are looking at ancient light, trying to decipher what it tells us about where we come from and what lies ahead. The curiosity and wonder bridging those thousands of years is unchanged. Perhaps, long after we are gone, others will look up from some distant planet or spaceship and marvel at the faint glow of our sun, seeing it as a small pinprick that started its journey long ago. In this way, the cosmos binds together past and present, near and far. The Milky Way arching overhead is a living archive of how things were long before our time. The silver-white glow from its dense star fields in Sagittarius, the direction of the galactic core, is tens of thousands of years old. Buried behind dark veils in that core lurks a supermassive black hole and clusters of ancient stars. Though we cannot see them with our bare eyes, the energy they stir up shines faintly on us after a journey that predates human civilization. One could say that deep in the heart of our galaxy, a story has been continuously unfolding and reaching us in installments of light that have traversed the length of the galaxy. The notion of now becomes blurry out here. What does it mean, really, when the starry sky shows us so many different thens? It reminds us that time and space are woven together inseparably. Our voyage across the Milky Way is also a voyage across ages. If we could move instantly from star to star, we would see how each place has its own present that is others' past. We could, in theory, catch up to light from Earth that left long before we departed, and witness scenes from our own history playing out. Of course, that is beyond reach. But the thought delights us. The idea that the universe might contain a natural record of all events, preserved in the form of outward-moving light waves. For now, we content ourselves with the silent fireworks of the cosmos that surround us each night of our journey. When we set up our small observation scope by the window of our ship and peer at a distant star cluster, the images we see might be hundreds of generations old. Perhaps we are gazing at a cluster whose light left when early humans first learned to draw on cave walls. Those drawings still exist in hidden caverns on Earth, and the light from those long-ago campfires is still travelling outwards into space. In a way, nothing is ever truly lost to time, as long as its light continues on. This realization fills us with a quiet reverence. We feel connected to the vast timeline of the universe. Our concerns, our hurried schedules, even our memories, they take on a different weight when measured against the slow, steady pace of starlight. All the petty rush and worry that might occupy our minds on Earth falls silent out here. In their place grows a profound peace, an acceptance that we are part of something vast and enduring. The universe will continue its majestic dance long after our individual lives have run their course. Far from making life meaningless, this perspective makes each moment, each connection, all the more precious. We see our own existence as a tiny but unique thread woven into the fabric of cosmic time, and that realization is both humbling and comforting. With renewed calm, we carry on through the galactic night. We know that every forward step we take in space might also be a step further back in time, at least in what we can see and learn. But we do not feel lost in this maze of time. The lights of the past are our guide just as surely as the sun was by day back on Earth. Ahead of us, new lights beckon, some perhaps older and fainter than any we have yet seen. They invite us to venture further and delve deeper into the cosmic past and the grand mysteries it holds. With each passing hour on our ship, we leave behind the era of our departure and slip into an older, more primal universe, inching closer to the origins of things. Yet, even as we chase the ancient light, we remain anchored by a sense of continuity. Our journey so far, from the sun to the nearest stars, through interstellar space, into a stellar nursery, and guided by the constellations, has shown us how connected everything is. The light from the distant past intertwines with our present voyage. In the grand darkness, we are both witnesses and participants in the ongoing story of the Milky Way. There is a gentle excitement in knowing that beyond the next sea of stars, beyond the horizon of our current knowledge, there will be more sights that challenge our understanding of time and space. The galaxy holds many secrets yet, and some lights that reach us are only hints of wonders we have yet to fully comprehend. We feel the pull to continue, to follow that beckoning glow into whatever lies ahead. As we conclude this segment of our expedition, we do so not with a sense of ending, but with anticipation. The stars around us slowly shift as our ship glides onward. The ancient light fades behind us, and new light, even older, appears in the distance ahead. Our path is illuminated by the soft glow of bygone eras, and we are eager to discover what new chapters of the universe's history will reveal themselves next. Buoyed by the knowledge that every photon we catch is a gift from long ago, we voyage onward into the deeper reaches of the Milky Way and beyond, where even greater mysteries await. Starlight surrounds us in a gentle, eternal night. We have left our familiar sun far behind, crossing into the vast gulf between the stars. The last faint traces of home have faded away. Even the distant whisper of our sun's influence is gone. In this quiet expanse, space feels endless and profoundly still. Time itself seems to stretch out here, unmoored from any earthly rhythm. The only motion is our steady drift onward, a small vessel carried by a calm cosmic current. All around, the darkness is soft and complete, punctuated only by the distant glow of stars that glitter like tiny islands in a boundless sea. We are explorers on this ocean of night. Our only compass is the light of far-off suns, and our guide is the deep sense of wonder drawing us further into the unknown. There is no up or down here, no horizon, just the infinite tapestry of the Milky Way stretching out in every direction. Our galaxy encircles us with its misty band of light. In one part of the sky, that band grows brighter and denser, the direction toward the galactic core, while in the opposite direction it thins toward the galaxy's outer fringes. Above and below, beyond the crowded plain of the Milky Way, lies a deeper darkness where only sparse stars and distant clusters reside. We are truly adrift within the galaxy's great disk, immersed in its starry expanse. Each pinpoint of light we see is a sun, some much like our own, and many far larger or smaller, scattered across unimaginable distances. In the perfect silence of the void, these stars do not twinkle as they do from Earth's surface. Out here they shine with a steady, ancient light. Their colours are subtle, hints of icy blue, warm white, or faint amber against the blackness, silent beacons that have burned for millennia. As we glide farther from our solar neighbourhood, the sun that once warmed our world has dwindled to a faint amber star, far, far behind us. If we look back now, we can barely distinguish which tiny spark might be our sun among the countless others. The familiar constellations of home have distorted and faded, no longer recognizable in this new perspective. Ahead of us lies deeper darkness, a seemingly endless night, yet it is not devoid of wonders. We sense the delicate presence of interstellar dust here, thinly spread atoms and grains adrift for eons, forming an invisible fog that ever so slightly blurs the most distant stars. We are travelling through the aftermath of an ancient cosmic tempest, a vast bubble in the galaxy's starry sea. Long ago, titanic stellar explosions cleared this region, sweeping it of much of its gas. The space here is thin and wispy, a cavity in the Milky Way likely carved out by supernovae that flashed and died millions of years before our journey began. For now, the emptiness around us is nearly perfect. The nearest star beyond our sun lies many light years away, a distance so great that even a beam of light, racing at cosmic speed, takes years to traverse it. Yet in the theatre of our imagination, we bridge that gulf effortlessly. In this voyage of the mind, we leap between stars, as if stepping across stones in a tranquil stream. We are drawn ever onward by curiosity and the promise of what lies beyond the next starry horizon. The solitude here is immense, but it is not loneliness. It's a peaceful solitude, accompanied by the gentle light of distant suns and the knowledge that all of these lights are part of our greater home in the Milky Way. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the character of space ahead begins to change. The darkness in front of us is no longer absolute. From the blackness comes a faint hint of something new, a fragile glow, so dim that we wonder if it might be a trick of our eyes. We peer into the abyss, and the subtle luminosity persists, then strengthens. It's like the first glimmer of dawn far on a horizon, the slightest lightening of the sky after a moonless night. A gauzy illumination materializes against the void, diffuse and ghostly. As we approach, it grows steadily in brightness and size, resolving from a mere smudge into a more defined hazy cloud. There can be no doubt now. We are coming upon a great cosmic cloud, adrift among the stars. The silent darkness ahead is giving way to a gentle radiance. We are approaching a nebula, a vast tapestry of gas and dust hanging in the starry darkness, glowing softly ahead like a distant cloud at sunset. This is no ordinary cloud, but a nebula, a colossal gathering of interstellar gas and dust, stretched out over dozens of light years like a cosmic veil. From afar, it appeared as a pale, luminous haze, a fragile apparition suspended between the stars. Now, as we draw nearer, the glow before us intensifies, and delicate colours begin to reveal themselves. We notice the faintest blush of pink against the darkness, and subtle hints of blue and violet, spreading like watercolour washes across the canvas of space. The nebula's light is not its own, but borrowed. It shines because newborn stars within have ignited and are now lighting up the cloud that cradled them. What was once invisible, cold gas, is transformed by starlight into a luminous vision. a great glowing cloud drifting in eternal night. We ease into the nebula's outer fringes, and the familiar starry backdrop fades behind a filmy curtain of light. All around us, the void transforms into a delicate mist of illumination. One moment, we were sailing through near total darkness. The next, we find ourselves bathed in a soft, otherworldly glow, as if we have slipped into an everlasting dawn. Threads of cosmic dust trail past us in intricate, lace-like patterns, swirling gently as they reflect the distant starlight. It feels as though we have entered a celestial sanctuary, a place where the usual darkness of space is replaced by a diffuse, gentle radiance. The darkness has turned into a dreamy twilight of glowing gas. Within this diffuse radiance, shapes begin to emerge. Faint outlines, set against a pearly background. We see filaments and wisps of denser material coiling through the nebula, sculpted into patterns by forces unseen. Some of these structures loom like ethereal mountains or pillars, their tops catching the light. They tower around us, massive yet almost transparent, like phantom silhouettes against the nebula's glow. In their curves and contours, one might imagine fantastical forms, a dragon stretching its wings, or perhaps a phoenix rising from cosmic ashes, mythical creatures born of the mind as it seeks familiarity in these abstract shapes. Drifting here feels akin to wandering through a cathedral of light, a sacred space with pillars of glowing gas for columns and clusters of newborn stars adorning the ceiling like chandeliers. As we venture deeper into the nebula's heart, we become enveloped in a rich tapestry of colour and light. The gas here, mostly hydrogen, the universe's most abundant element, has been excited by intense starlight and glows like dim embers stirred to life. Soft pink and red hues permeate vast swaths of the cloud where hydrogen is dense, giving those regions a gentle rose-coloured tint. In places, we discern touches of green-blue, the mark of other elements like oxygen glowing faintly amid the hydrogen, adding depth to the nebula's palette. Meanwhile, countless tiny dust particles, invisible on their own, collectively scatter the brilliant light of nearby stars, surrounding them with a hazy blue aura. All these colours, rosy reds, baby blues, hints of violet and green, mingle and blend into one another, painting the nebula in pastel tones against the velvet black of space. It is a serene, otherworldly beauty, a cosmic watercolour stretching across light years. In this tranquil brilliance, time itself seems to slow to a crawl. We drift through the glowing clouds in a state of reverie, each moment elongated by the sheer wonder of our surroundings. Now and then, our journey takes us past a cluster of stars nestled deep within the nebula. At first, we see them only as a tight gathering of brilliant pinpoints, like a handful of diamonds scattered on a soft, glowing fabric. As we draw closer, their individual identities sharpen. These are the newborn sons of this stellar nursery, the youngest stars, formed only a few million years ago, still wrapped in the afterglow of their birth. Some of them are truly massive and searing hot, shining a fierce blue-white colour. Their radiance is intense. It punches through the surrounding gas, carving out pockets and tunnels in the nebula, and casting faint shadows of any denser clumps behind them. These brilliant young beacons are the architects of the scene around us, their energy shaping the nebula, pushing away material here, compressing it there, and sustaining the nebula's soft glow. Around these stars, the nebula's light takes on a different character, brighter and sharper, with stark contrasts between light and dark, where their illumination meets the remaining clouds. Amid the softly glowing gas, we notice pockets of profound darkness, small voids where the nebular light is completely absent. These are regions of dust and gas so thick and cool that they blot out the light behind them, appearing as inky black silhouettes against the luminous background. They look like holes in the nebula, places where the stars have yet to reveal what's inside. It's within these obscuring cocoons that new stars are quietly taking shape. We cannot see these embryonic stars directly. They remain swaddled in their shrouds of dust, gathering mass in silence, far from the reach of any bright starlight. Yet their presence is hinted at in indirect ways. Occasionally, a narrow beam or a faint streak of energized particles issues forth from the edge of one of these dark regions, a slender jet cutting into the surrounding glow. These are the subtle heralds of a protostar's birth. In the stillness of the nebula, a baby star announces itself, not with noise, but with a gentle outflow of energy, a cosmic whisper that a new sun is coming into being. We catch sight of one such event, a delicate jet, dimly illuminated where it collides with the ambient gas, streaming out from a dense clump. It is the merest glimpse of the tumult hidden inside those dark wombs of dust, where gravity gathers material until a star ignites. We know that inside those dense niches, the newborn stars are not alone. They are encircled by whirling disks of their own. These swirling rings of dust and gas are the cradles of future planets, protoplanetary disks quietly evolving around their infant stars. With a bit of imagination, and when the angle of starlight is just right, we can almost perceive one of these disks. Against the nebula's glow, near a particularly bright young star, we notice a tiny round patch of darkness, a silhouette where the star's light is blocked. It's the shadow of a disk orbiting that nascent sun, a circumstellar pancake of material that one day might form planets. Each such halo we glimpse represents a cosmic promise. Here, in the quiet embrace of this nebula, a new solar system may be taking shape. In time, those disks will coalesce into planets, perhaps gas giants with swirling clouds, or rocky worlds where oceans and mountains could eventually form. Some of these worlds may remain barren, while others might, in far epochs, host life beneath the gentle glow of their young sun. In this nursery of stars, the story of creation is not ending with the birth of stars. It is merely opening a new chapter, continuing onward to the birth of worlds. Continuing on, we glide toward the central region of the nebula, where the light grows strongest and the view most dramatic. Here, several of the brightest newborn stars have gathered into a loose cluster. They burn with such power that their combined brilliance has carved out a hollow cavity in the surrounding cloud. We find ourselves at the threshold of this cosmic chamber, an open space within the nebula, illuminated by the unfiltered light of multiple suns. The young stars sit at its center like a group of luminaries holding court, each one pouring out intense radiation. Around them, we see the effects of their presence. The inner walls of the hollow nebula glow sharply where starlight strikes, and we can observe gas being pushed outward, as if a strong wind is sweeping through. We float at the edge of this cavity, gazing into a kind of celestial atrium where the stars reside. They are infants by the measure of stellar lifespans, only a few million years old, yet they blaze with formidable energy. Their stellar winds blow forcefully, pushing the nebula gas outward and clearing away the material that once hid them. It is a scene of ongoing creation and destruction. The very act of these stars coming to life is eroding the womb that birthed them. Each of these central stars carries a different fate hidden in its core. The most massive among them are living on borrowed time. They will burn through their fuel in only a few million more years. When their brief lives come to an end, they will do so in spectacular fashion. One day, a star perhaps dozens of times the mass of our Sun will exhaust its innermost fuel and collapse under its own weight, only to explosively rebound as a supernova. For a short time, it will outshine entire star clusters, casting a brilliant bloom of light across the nebula and beyond. In its death, it will hurl heavy elements, calcium, iron, gold, out into space, seeding the next generation of cosmic clouds with the ingredients for planets and life. But all of that lies in a future we cannot yet see. For now, these massive stars continue to radiate fiercely, dominating their surroundings. Scattered around them are dozens of smaller, fainter stars. These are their siblings, stars born from the same cloud, but destined for much longer, steadier lives. They glow in hues of soft white and yellow, steadfast and enduring. Each of those lesser stars may shine for billions of years, long after the nebula's colourful gas has dispersed into the galaxy. Farther out, at the edge of our view, innumerable tiny red dwarfs likely pepper this region as well. Far dimmer than their bright sisters, they are easy to overlook amid the glare. Yet these modest red stars will outlast all of them, glowing gently for trillions of years. In this single cluster, we see a cosmic family portrait. Brilliant short-lived giants and quiet, long-lived dwarfs, all formed together, yet each following its own path through time. It strikes us that everything we have witnessed, the nebula's glowing gas, the newborn stars, this cluster of siblings, are all part of a grand cycle. The very elements that make up our bodies were forged in ancient stars like these. In a real sense, we are made of stardust, connected by cosmic lineage to the lights now surrounding us. This realization washes over us gently as we float on. Far from being outsiders in this scene, we carry pieces of the universe within us. The calcium in our bones and the iron in our blood were formed in stellar furnaces and supernova blasts eons ago. The nebula's story is in some ways our own story. The thought brings a quiet comfort amid the vastness. We feel a subtle kinship with these distant clouds and stars. They are not just picturesque points of light. They are part of our extended cosmic family. With that comforting awareness, we drift further, our perspective forever changed by knowing how intimately connected we are to the cosmos around us. We spend a gentle moment in the presence of this stellar nursery, absorbing the scene in silent awe. There is creation all around us. The nebula is alive with the processes of star birth and planet formation. Despite the tremendous energy at work, everything unfolds in near silence. In the vacuum of space, there can be no sound, yet one might imagine that if this nebula could sing, it would be a soft, ethereal music, perhaps a low, resonant hum, marking the emergence of new suns. We let our minds conjure that imagined symphony as we gaze at the glowing pillars and shining stars. It's a comforting illusion, as though we can hear the nebula's joy at producing new light. But nature performs this dance in mute grandeur. The birth of stars is marked only by light and motion, without any audible fanfare. Accepting the quiet, we simply watch and feel a part of this majestic unfolding. As our journey carries us through the nebula and out the other side, the environment gradually begins to change again. Having seen the nebula's brightest heart, we now venture toward its outer edges. With increasing distance from the central cluster of stars, The glow around us softens. The thick haze of gas and dust that once surrounded us thins out. The pastel pinks and blues fade back toward faint grey, and then to the deep black of open space. Twisting pillars and elongated columns of gas still rise here and there at the fringes, some of them glowing faintly at their tips, where they catch the last light from the nebula's core. These structures are the holdouts of star formation, regions that have not yet been completely eroded by the nebula's brilliant offspring. Some of them point back toward the center, like long fingers of cloud, their illuminated ends facing the cluster like torches. Within those sheltered tips, new stars might also be coalescing, racing against time to fully form before the relentless light and winds of their siblings disperse their birth material completely. Not far from one such glowing pillar tip, we glide past an especially striking column of gas and dust. It stands apart from the others, tall and solitary, its base hidden in shadow, and its narrow tip glowing like an ember where it faces the distant stars. We pause briefly to admire this structure, a cosmic stalagmite rising from the nebular mist. It's a reminder that even here at the edge, the story of starbirth may still be unfolding in secret pockets. This lone pillar seems to symbolize the nebula's last stand, an isolated nursery protecting what remains of its potential for new stars. We quietly drift by it, aware that we are witnessing a transient scene. Given time, even this proud pillar will likely succumb to the inevitable, evaporating into space under the onslaught of radiation, leaving any nascent stars within it to emerge naked into the galaxy. Eventually, we reach the far boundary of the great nebula. The radiant glow that once surrounded us has now ebbed away. Like the gentle dimming of twilight, the soft colours recede gradually, and the darkness of space reasserts itself. The pastel hues of hydrogen and oxygen give way to the star-speckled blackness ahead. Wisps of gas trail off behind us like fading smoke, until there is no glow left, only the clear, crisp light of distant stars against infinite night. We emerge from the nebula and find ourselves once more in open space. The sudden clarity and contrast are striking. Ahead lies the true darkness of interstellar space, and the stars out here shine cold and sharp without a nearby cloud to diffuse them. We take a moment to look behind us, to bid a silent farewell to the nebula that has been our companion. From this slight remove, the nebula appears as a faintly glowing apparition hanging against the dark. What from Earth might have been seen as merely a hazy patch of light has revealed itself to us in all its intricate glory. Now, from outside, we see its full shape silhouetted, a luminous cloud with wispy edges feathering into space, perhaps vaguely reminiscent of a winged creature or a flower petal suspended in the void. Its once vivid colours are muted by distance, blending into a pale, ghostly glow. At its centre, we can still discern a tiny, brilliant knot, the cluster of newborn stars, sparkling like a jewel within a diaphanous setting. Already the nebula is beginning to recede, its light growing fainter as we drift further away. Slowly but surely, the nebula fades into the background of the galaxy. Its blues and pinks become a mere whisper of colour against the darkness, a cloud-like smudge illuminated from within. Yet we know that within that diminishing glow there remain thousands of young stars, continuing their silent symphony of creation. The thought of all that ongoing activity the stars forming, planets assembling, all hidden back in that misty cloud, fills us with reverence. Though we have moved on, the nebula's story continues without us, in silence and secrecy. Our journey now carries us into a new realm of the Milky Way. Out here, beyond the nebula's boundary, the stars around us once again shine as distinct, hard points of light against a coal-black sky. The lively glow of the nebula is behind us, and we return to the clear sparkle of open space. We have entered a region filled with the newborn stars that the nebula left behind, a cluster of young suns now free in the galaxy. This loose gathering of stars drifts together like a cosmic family, a glittering congregation marking where that great nebula once illuminated the dark. We find ourselves surrounded by a newfound abundance of suns, all recently born from the same cosmic cloud. Dozens, perhaps hundreds, of youthful stars are scattered in every direction, shining like a swarm of fireflies frozen in time. They range in brightness and hue. Some glow a hot diamond blue, others a softer golden white. Their collective light makes the space around us gently aglow, a delicate radiance that was absent in the emptiness we knew before. There is a sense of community here. These stars are siblings in a real sense, having shared a common origin. They remain close to one another for now, bound by their mutual gravity in a slow, stately waltz through the galaxy. This star cluster carries a feeling of camaraderie and youth. All these suns were born together, and for the time being, travel together. We drift in the midst of them, as though we've stepped into a vast hall filled with lanterns. The nearest stars to us shine with intense brightness, their youthful energy evident in their brilliance. We navigate slowly through the cluster, taking care not to stray too close to any single star's domain. Even in their infancy, each of these suns commands a region around it, dominated by fierce light and searing solar wind. Every now and then, two stars orbit one another as a bound pair, twirling through space together in a stellar pas de deux. We watch one such binary system, a duo of bright stars circling a shared center, engaged in a gravitational dance. They sweep past each other and around, their mutual orbit like an endless waltz set to silent music. It's a beautiful, intimate counterpoint to the wider dance of the entire cluster. Every star we pass has its own character. One of the largest and hottest in this cluster emits a blue-white blaze so intense that it outshines its companions. We almost feel the need to squint as we imagine its light washing over us. Not far from it, another star, smaller and golden-hued, shines with a gentle warmth, its light less blinding but still rich and full. These differences in color and intensity are a language of the stars, telling us about their temperatures, their sizes, and their natures. Scattered among the bright stars are numerous red dwarfs, almost imperceptible at first in the presence of their more luminous kin. These little ruby embers glow faintly, adding subtle garnet points to the cluster's sparkle. Though they are faint, they are far from unimportant. These red dwarfs are the most populous members of this stellar family, and will be the last survivors of it, enduring quietly for eons after the larger stars have gone. Every now and then, as we glide along, we notice a slight dimming around one of the bright stars, a clue that even here, some stars may still be encircled by the remnants of their birth material. Perhaps a few of these young suns still wear veils of dust and gas, protosystems that haven't yet fully coalesced into planets. Back in the nebula, we saw such things up close. Here in the open cluster, they're harder to detect. but the idea that new worlds might be in formation around these stars is captivating. It adds another layer of meaning to the glittering vista. Not only are we surrounded by newborn stars, but also by the possibility of future planets, and maybe, eventually, life. Drifting here, we can't help but wonder if our own sun was born in a similar cluster billions of years ago, shining alongside sibling stars in its youth. Scientists believe it was so, that our sun likely emerged as part of a stellar brood, only to have its siblings scattered across the galaxy over time. We take a quiet moment to imagine that scene. The sun as one of many bright stars in a cluster like this, with perhaps a young Earth still forming around it. Those sibling stars of the sun have long since wandered to far corners of the Milky Way, unknown and unrecognized among the myriad stars. As we linger in this youthful cluster, we feel we may be catching a glimpse of what our sun's birthplace might have been like. It's a poignant thought, connecting our life-sustaining star to a broader context of family and separation in the cosmos. This star cluster truly is a cosmic family, and like any family, it will evolve and eventually drift apart. Already the stars are moving, each following its own orbital path around the center of the galaxy. Though it will take many millions of years, gravity from other stars and tidal forces in the Milky Way will gradually tug these siblings apart. We take a moment to imagine the future of this place. Perhaps 100 million years from now, the tight swarm of bright young suns will have expanded and thinned. The brightest, most massive stars will have lived and died. Some might explode as supernovae in spectacular farewells, briefly lighting up the cluster one final time. Others will quietly fade into white dwarfs, small, dense, stellar embers slowly cooling through the eons. The smaller, steadier stars, like the goldens and reds we see, will continue on, travelling further and further from their birthplace and from each other. In the far future, what was once a single shining cluster will be a loose scattering of stars spread over great distances, perhaps unrecognizable as kin. For now, though, in this cosmic moment, the cluster remains a splendid congregation, and we are fortunate to witness it in its golden youth. We gently maneuver through the cluster's heart, letting the sights imprint themselves on our memory. Despite the number of suns around us, there is an overarching peacefulness. The stars do not crowd each other violently. All is stately and harmonious on a human timescale. In the soundless vacuum, their collective light is like a chorus of voices singing in harmony. Only the music is light itself, blending and washing over space. It's easy to lose ourselves in the grandeur and forget the immense scales involved, so calming is the cluster's presence. Gradually, as we reach the outskirts of the cluster, the sea of stars around us begins to thin. One by one, the bright companions fall behind. The dense core of the stellar family shrinks in our wake, becoming a compact sprinkling of lights rather than a sky-filling spectacle. We can still see the cluster as a whole, a tight, gleaming patch of stars hanging in space. With distance, its individual stars merge into a single diffuse glow, much as the nebula did earlier. Eventually, it too becomes just another feature in the starry background, a tiny sparkle amid countless others in the Milky Way's band. Now our path leads us onward into a quieter realm once more. We leave behind the lively company of the cluster and enter a broad, interstellar expanse separating the spiral arms. The difference is palpable. Where the cluster's vicinity was bright and busy with stars, here space grows still and sparsely populated. The darkness around us deepens, and a hush falls over our journey. We are traversing the space between, an ocean of night that lies between the great rivers of stars in the Milky Way. In this interlude, the emptiness takes on a new depth. Only a few solitary stars remain in view, each a considerable distance from the next. The backdrop of the galaxy's glow is dimmer here, as we are looking out from a gap between spiral arms. Here and there, a lone star punctuates the darkness, a beacon shining in isolation. The space between spiral arms is often called a void, but it is not truly empty. We glide through wisps of very tenuous gas, so thin it's almost a vacuum, yet still present, the residue of ancient supernova explosions and the diffuse outer reaches of previous nebulae. This region is like a calm, open sea after leaving a busy harbour. The difference in traffic is unmistakable. Aside from the gentle light of a distant star or two, we are enveloped by a profound quiet. Drifting through such silence, one cannot help but reflect on the vastness. Without the distraction of bright surroundings, our perspective turns inward, even as we gaze outward. Here, time itself feels different. The lives of stars and the transformations of nebulae play out over millions or even billions of years, a span inconceivable back on Earth. Yet in our journey of the mind, we have watched these changes unfold, almost like turning pages in a storybook. We compress eons into moments, witnessing chapters of creation and dissolution that span ages. It makes us reflect on how brief human life is compared to the cosmic timeline. And yet, through curiosity and imagination, we are bridging that gap, coming to understand processes that far outlast us. Out here, under light that has travelled for centuries or millennia to reach us, we sense both the ephemerality of our own existence and the timeless continuity of the universe. The stars around us were shining long before we were born and will continue long after we are gone. Yet here we are, able to behold them and fold their story into ours. Our ship of the imagination sails on through the dark, and the minutes blend softly into hours. There are no day-night cycles here, no familiar markers of time, only the ceaseless gliding forward. The stillness is therapeutic in a way, inviting us to simply be in the moment. We allow ourselves to fully experience the tranquility of this place. The darkness isn't frightening. It's velvety and gentle, like a warm, silent room meant for contemplation. The distant stars around us are reassuring points of reference, each one a sun with its own domain, scattered lightly across the expanse. They remind us that even in what seems like emptiness, there is structure and presence, a galaxy's subtle backbone of solitary wanderers and diffuse matter. Occasionally, we come upon a single star shining alone in the void. One such star appears ahead, a faint beacon that gradually brightens as we draw nearer. It's a red dwarf, one of the countless quiet stars that populate the galaxy's more hidden corners. From afar, it was barely a speck. Up close, it is still modest, glowing with a subdued, reddish light. We drift near it, as near as one can be in space, while maintaining respect for a star's might. This little sun is cool and small, its ruby glow the cosmic equivalent of a banked ember. It casts a gentle light into the surrounding darkness, illuminating a region perhaps only a fraction of the size of our solar system. If there are planets in orbit around this star, they would be locked in eternal dusk, illuminated by a dim red daytime that never quite becomes bright. We circle this lonely star slowly, as if paying homage to a solitary lighthouse keeper on a dark sea. Red dwarfs are the quiet sustainers of the galaxy, far more numerous than stars like our Sun, yet so faint that they often go unnoticed. This one will burn its fuel so sparingly that it may shine on for trillions of years, long after many of the grand nebula-born giants we saw have lived and died. In its own unassuming way, the red dwarf is a symbol of longevity and stability. After a moment of appreciation, we bid it farewell in silence, letting it continue its solitary vigil. Not far beyond, we catch sight of another isolated light, a star with a gentle golden hue. We don't approach this one too closely, but its warm colour suggests a sun-like star aging gracefully. It likely has been shining for billions of years, and perhaps it has begun to swell and cool just a bit in its advanced age. Beyond it, we notice an even dimmer, reddish star glimmering on the periphery of our vision. Could it be a red giant, a once sun-like star, now bloated and nearing the end of its life? It glows with a deeper crimson light, clearly distinct from the petite red dwarf we visited. Although far from us, we can sense the difference in its radiance, steadier, larger, casting a ruddy hue. We know that such a star is in its twilight years, having expanded to many times its original size. It likely pulsates gently, breathing out gas and dust into space with each cycle. Someday, not too long from now in cosmic terms, it will shed its outer layers entirely, forming a gauzy nebula around a hot, tiny core, the final whisper of its existence as a red giant. But at this moment, it simply hangs in the darkness, a quiet reminder of the fate awaiting many stars. We observe it from afar with a sense of respect and poignancy. Even out here, in the sparse interarm space, the cycle of stellar life and death continues on its grand timescale. Every so often, as we traverse this emptiness, we realize that we are also crossing incredible distances. Light years slip by silently under our keel, yet the scene around us hardly changes at a human glance. It underscores how vast even the empty parts of our galaxy are. We imagine that if a human traveller were truly making this journey in a spacecraft, generations would pass before reaching the next bustling region of stars. But in our minds, we journey swiftly and freely, sampling the highlights without being bound by the limits of technology or time. Without obvious landmarks for a while, our thoughts wander as freely as our path. We reflect on the voyage so far, from the bright haven of our sun, through a stellar nursery, into the calm in between. It feels as though each stage of this journey has offered not just new sights, but new insights about existence. In the nebula and cluster, we saw beginnings, the birth of stars, the promise of planets, the dawn of light in darkness. Here in the void, we feel the value of patience, of quiet, of the slow march of time. We realize that even the quiet chapters of the galaxy are important, giving structure and contrast to the bright ones. The emptiness allows the fullness elsewhere to be appreciated. The silence here gives meaning to the sounds and activity of cosmic events. We drift on, and gradually, the character of space begins to change yet again. After an indeterminate stretch of solitude, there comes the subtle return of structure ahead. The scattering of distant stars in front of us grows denser. From a barely perceptible brightening on the horizon of our journey, a distinct band of light starts to take shape across the sky. It's as though the night is giving way to a diffuse dawn, an approaching glow that wasn't there before. We recognize this glow. It is the collective light of countless stars swarming in one of the Milky Way's spiral arms, the next grand region of our galactic voyage. At first, it appears as a milky ribbon, a gentle enhancement of the starry background. But as we move closer, this ribbon of light becomes broader and more luminous. What was once darkness is now replaced by a growing hazy sheen made of millions of distant stars, whose individual lights blend together. Here and there, we begin to discern features in this glow, patchy, cloud-like forms that are darker, vast, interstellar dust clouds in the spiral arm blocking the light beyond, and faint blushes of pink where enormous nebulae reside, too far to see in detail, but visible by their combined rosy emission. We realize we are seeing the arm almost edge on from our approach, the cumulative light of stars piled in our line of sight. Our heart quickens with anticipation. After the long, calm traverse of the interarm gulf, the sight of this stellar tapestry is exhilarating. We are like a sailor at night, spotting the first glow of a distant port city after a long journey over a dark ocean. The gentle luminosity ahead grows stronger with each passing moment. The individual pinpoints of nearby stars multiply. The far-off star clouds brighten. The very quality of the darkness around us changes, tinted now with a slight blue-white cast from the starlight ahead. As we draw nearer, details resolve further. We notice that within the glow, certain areas shine more brightly, perhaps clusters of young stars or star-forming regions embedded in the arm. Other areas are oddly dim, etched by long lanes of cosmic dust that absorb starlight. These dark rifts give the approaching arm a sense of texture and depth, like rivers of shadow cutting through fields of light. We recall how from Earth one can see such dark lanes splitting the Milky Way's band. Now we witness them from within, enormous structures of obscuring dust threading through the stellar panorama. Amid the increasing glow, a few distinct points stand out. One might be a supergiant star far ahead, shining fiercely like a lighthouse on the arm's edge, and another could be a compact star cluster glittering with an intense blue light. And there, slightly to one side, we spot a faint reddish patch that could be the Lagoon Nebula or the Trifid Nebula, well-known star factories in the galaxy. From here it's merely a coloured smudge, but its presence makes our imagination soar. We know such places teem with new stars and intricate beauty, waiting to be explored. Elsewhere, a pale bluish cluster hints at perhaps the Pleiades, or a similar open cluster residing in the arm, tiny from here, but promising up close. Our surroundings gradually transform as we approach the fringes of the spiral arm. The isolation of interstellar space recedes behind us. The number of stars in our immediate vicinity increases, gently at first, then more noticeably. Where before the nearest stars were many light years apart, now they become more common, populating the space around us like an expanding city of lights. The interstellar medium, that thin spread of gas, grows subtly denser here, though still far more rarefied than any earthly vacuum. We notice this only because the starlight has a slight misty quality, as if the very space has a faint sheen, reflecting the multitude of lights. A sense of anticipation builds, as we know new marvels await us in the dense stellar fields ahead. We are on the threshold of one of the Milky Way's grand designs, a spiral arm, curving gracefully around the galactic center and brimming with stars, clusters, and nebula. It's as though we have left a calm, open ocean and now see the coastline of a vast, glowing continent rising before us. We take a moment to look behind us one last time. Far in the distance, the region of calm and darkness we traversed lies quietly, with perhaps the faint, ghostly glow of the nebula and the tiny sparkle of the cluster marking where we have been. Those features are now just small embellishments on the tapestry of the sky behind. They remind us of how far we've come, and how each phase of the journey has its own kind of beauty. As we stand at the threshold of this brilliant realm, a feeling of humility and wonder fills us. We are tiny travelers amid incomprehensible vastness, one speck of life and awareness among the billions of stars spread out before us. Yet surprisingly, we do not feel lost or insignificant. Instead, we feel profoundly connected to the grandeur around us. The light of those distant suns, the glow of those far-off nebulae, even the darkness itself. They all feel like part of a larger whole that we, somehow, belong to. In this moment, floating on the edge of the spiral arm, we understand that our own existence on a small, blue planet is linked to this cosmic story. The iron in our blood, the calcium in our bones. These came from events unfolding in places like this spiral arm. In a very literal way, we are children of the stars and the galaxy. That realization instills both awe and comfort. We might be small, yes, but we are not separate from the universe. We are made of it. Not far ahead, the first stars of the spiral arm surround us now. We have slipped into its outskirts almost without noticing. One moment space was mostly empty, and the next we are amidst a crowd of stars again. We cross this threshold without fanfare or abruptness. The change is gradual, like a gentle dawn. All at once, we find ourselves fully within the spiral arm's domain. The sky around us is ablaze with stars of every color, so numerous that it's impossible to count them. Wisps of nebular clouds are visible off to one side, and the rich starfields extend in rivers of light as we peer down the length of the arm. Under the gentle glow of 1 billion distant suns, we venture forward, letting the river of starlight carry us deeper into this celestial heartland. Our voyage across the Milky Way continues, unbroken and ever unfolding. We carry with us the calm of the journey so far, ready to immerse ourselves in the splendor and mystery of the spiral arm that now welcomes us. In this tranquil, awe-filled state, we glide onward into the next chapter of our galactic voyage, our hearts and minds open to the wonders that await amid the starry currents ahead. Far beyond the quiet spiral arms of our galaxy, we drift toward the Milky Way's core. The familiar stars of the outer galaxy fade behind us. Darkness deepens around us as the smooth spiral pattern transforms into a dense, glowing haze. Billions of stars crowd together in the central bulge, their light blending into a warm golden glow. We move slowly through interstellar clouds of gas and dust, which reflect and absorb that light, creating soft shadows and shimmering silhouettes. This atmosphere feels strange, yet welcoming, an ancient, gentle illumination that washes over us with every turn. We pause often to drink it in, feeling our hearts swell with peace as the scene grows more extraordinary, yet remains silent and still. The air of mystery thickens here, surrounded by a tapestry of stars, like an ocean of lights. We feel the gravity of so many suns, pulling gently at every corner of space. Our journey has taken us past nebulae and quiet star clusters, and now we enter the heart of this cosmic city. The rhythm of our voyage is unhurried. With each passing moment, the scene grows more extraordinary, yet a calm hush remains over everything. We sense that this place is ancient and wise, gently revealing itself at our own pace. The sky above is ablaze, but the air feels cool in our minds, as if nothing can disturb this peaceful kingdom of stars. Here at the galactic core, the light seems different. Instead of the sharp blue gleam of young stars, we see a gentle golden glow from countless older suns. Their collective light fills the space around us, like a cozy twilight. Through the haze, faint ribbons of dust drift lazily, glowing softly from the starlight they reflect. Each ribbon is like a ghostly river suspended in space, a delicate structure sculpted by gravity. They twist and flutter as if caught in a silent breeze, drifting along in perpetual stillness. This interplay of dust and light feels alive, like breathing curtains that respond to invisible currents. It makes the whole panorama feel intimate and alive, like the gentle glow inside a quiet campfire. Above us stretches a kind of invisible web, connecting star to star through gravity. We sense the subtle pulls as we travel, the gentle tug of mass weaving this vast structure. Closer to the center, the stars cluster ever more tightly, their combined gravity wrapping around the core like a giant embrace. This gravitational dance is gentle yet profound, holding everything in balance. We are carried along in its rhythm, gliding in a graceful orbit with the rest of the galaxy. The effect is almost musical, a silent, slow-moving symphony of motion. Even though we feel ourselves moving, it is as if the whole crowd of stars flows around us in one coordinated waltz. In this luminous expanse, the concept of time seems to stretch and bend. We are bathed not in the light of any one star, but in the collective glow of countless ancient suns. Some of these stars burned their last long ago, yet their light still drifts gently through the dust, a gentle memory of the galaxy's youth. The air of the core feels warm, not in temperature, but in color and radiance. Each tiny spark of light tells a story of an age gone by, and we move among these stories with reverence and awe. It is as if every star were a page in an ancient history book, and together they chronicle the life of the galaxy. Being here is like reading that book in person, surrounded by its words. Even though the core is alive with stars, the silence is profound. In this vacuum, no sound disturbs the gentle scene. There is only the faint hum of our own imagination as we visualize this cosmic city. Every star glitters brightly, yet together they form a tranquil sea of light. We lean into the quiet, feeling a sense of peace in the solitude of space. Here at the center of our galaxy, among the celestial crowd, we remain utterly alone and entirely serene. It is a solitude full of comfort, as if we're meditating beneath a ceiling of stars. No alarms, no bustle, just calm understanding and wonder. Staring into this bulge of countless lights, one could imagine lying under a giant cosmic lantern. The darkness around is punctured by so many stars that the concept of empty space feels distant. It is as if we stand in a grand cathedral of light, under a ceiling dotted with flames. The warm glow envelops us, casting long golden shadows on the interstellar clouds around. These glowing clouds drift like drapes, half-seen veils at the periphery of our vision. In this gentle illumination, even darkness seems touched by a soft light. The contrast between light and shade is so subtle, it creates a painting, the stars and dust woven seamlessly together. Each point of light is ancient. The stars we see are like distant memories, their light taking thousands of years to reach us. In gazing at the core's stars, we are looking into the galaxy's past. We witness the twilight of stars that long ago might have been brighter, and the remnants of those that have faded. Yet all their history is alive in the gentle glow we now see. This scene is both present and timeless, a quiet time capsule at the center of the Milky Way. Holding their light, they hold history. We feel humbled that these points have shone across so much time, and grateful to be here to receive their ancient gift of light. The galactic bulge around us has its own form and shape. We see a rounded halo of starlight above and below the plane, like a soft dome of light. This bulge is thicker than the spiral arms. It feels cozy, enveloping us from above. Even from within it, we understand that these crowded stars trace out a gentle, central glow, making the galaxy's shape feel more like an oval, filled with golden light at the core. It is as if the galaxy took a deep breath and lit up its lungs in all directions. Being here, we are literally inside that halo, feeling surrounded by its gentle embrace. The light here is not harsh. It is rounded, smooth, as if the Milky Way has opened its heart to us. It can feel like wandering in a forest of light. Everywhere we look, bright points stand in dense clusters, like pillars of light in a midnight forest. Unlike a forest on Earth, there is no ground or trees here, only shimmering points hung in the void. But the impression is similar, countless trunks of starshine standing together in a gentle night. This celestial wood is tranquil, each star rooted in its orbit, swaying only to the rhythm of gravity. The canopy above is made of more stars, every leaf a glint of gold. In this image, we find comfort. It is a place both wild and ordered, silent yet alive. Between these stars, fine patches of darkness still linger. These are the densest dust lanes in the galaxy, faintly visible as vague silhouettes against the brightness. They weave through the light like delicate tapestries, marking the spiral patterns behind us. But here they appear muted and soft. Even in this core, pockets of emptiness remain, gently shaping the panorama. In this golden forest, the dust lanes are like subtle paths that trace the unseen structure of the galaxy. They remind us that not everything here is light. There are still secrets concealed in shadow. Yet these dark ribbons are barely there, more hint than barrier, adding depth and texture to the view. Everywhere we look, the contrast of light and shadow is gentle. The brightest stars cast soft halos, while dust clouds add a subtle texture. It is like a grand tapestry of light and shadow, woven together in warmth. The interplay is so smooth that our eyes can't find a single point to focus on. Everything melds together. It feels like being in the glow of a sunset. Only this sunset is all around us, everywhere we look at once. The mood is dreamy, as if the universe has purposely dimmed the edges to lull us into calm. We relax into that softness. Here, even the darkest corners are quiet and kind. Many of these stars are very old. They were born long before our own sun, when the galaxy was young. In a way, we are surrounded by history. Each star holds the memory of epochs gone by. Their light could have started its journey when dinosaurs roamed Earth. Here, in this golden haze, their ancient light still shines. This long duration of starlight adds to the sense of connection between us and the deep past. We touch that history with our eyes. It feels almost sacred. We are not just travelers through space, but time as well. We have entered the city of stars that we once could only observe from afar. The Milky Way we saw stretched across our sky now surrounds us fully. What was once the distant band of light is now beneath our feet and overhead. It is a dreamlike reversal of our perspective. We have stepped inside a vision that on Earth felt remote. The familiar rivers of starlight have become our immediate environment. In this way, we become part of the cosmic portrait that inspired countless stories. We, the watchers of the sky, are now inside the sky itself. Centuries ago, people on Earth saw this glowing band of light and called it a river of stars or a path across the sky. It guided travelers and stoked dreams of the unknown. Now, in a twist of fate, we are not looking at it from below, but sailing right through it. We are both the travelers and the travel path. Imagining ourselves as cosmic voyagers along this ancient river, we feel a deep connection to all who have looked up at these stars before us. Their wonder is now ours, and we gently tread where myths and dreams first arose. This moment ties us to every stargazer, every child who pointed upward in wonder. We find ourselves enveloped in the galaxy's very heart, surrounded by an immense congregation of stars. The density of light is overwhelming. Every direction we look, we see sun after sun, so many that the space feels almost completely filled with their radiance. It is a ceaseless sea of light. Each star is a fragile point of brightness in the ocean of darkness, yet together they create a deep, luminous expanse. Amid this ocean, every fleeting shadow takes on new meaning, and the line between light and dark blurs into one continuous canvas. Our eyes adjust and no longer distinguish single lights. The effect is of being inside the glow itself. Here, day and night as we know them no longer exist. The sky itself glows with a perpetual soft twilight. In every direction, stars melt together in a seamless gleam, too many to distinguish individually. We feel almost like fish in a luminous sea, enveloped in a gentle and unceasing radiance. Even the shadows are bathed in light, as every corner of space reflects the galaxy's collective energy. It is always twilight here, never harsh midday brightness, but a kind of eternal dusk. We sense that if we lingered, no true night would fall, only deeper shifts of this golden glow. It feels as though we are standing knee-deep in light, every direction glowing. If the galaxy were an ocean, here we would be surrounded by its gentle waves. Stars lap around us like quiet ripples, carrying their soft radiance onward. We are immersed in this calm sea of points. Each step we might take, if we could walk in space, would place us in another ray of starlight. Even the darkness beneath our feet is faintly lit by reflections of this radiance. There is no bottomless black here, just shallow, starlit waters extending everywhere we look. Despite the overwhelming glow, subtle patterns and structures are present. Occasionally, A denser knot of stars forms a small bright patch, like an island of light. These star clusters add texture to the luminous sea, breaking the glow into intricate patterns. But mostly, the effect remains one of smooth continuity. It reminds us of sunlight filtering through gentle waves on an ocean, a peaceful vision of flowing beauty. Where the clusters are, the light grows slightly warmer, as if small flares ignite within the glow. Then it settles back, vanishing into the steady amber of the surrounding stars. Glimpses of gaseous clouds can be seen in this stellar sea, tiny patches where new stars are born, or old ones have died. Some areas glow softly with reddish or pinkish hues, the faint light of ionized gas from nascent stars. These gentle glows are subtle against the overwhelming starlight, but they add to the tapestry of color and life. It is a reminder that even in this crowded, luminous center, the cycles of creation and endings continue. The galaxy's heart is not frozen in time. It still nurtures new light amidst the legacy of ancient stars. This soft pink reaches are like afterglow, a promise that some sparks still ignite within the core. In this brilliance, shadows vanish. There is no place for dark corners here. Even a footstep would leave no hidden dark patch behind it. The lights of all these stars erase the concept of night. We feel enveloped fully. Nothing is hidden. It is the most illuminated place we have ever seen in the galaxy. Even the deepest spaces between stars are aglow. In that sense, we are as safe and visible as if in broad daylight, but on a scale we could never imagine at home. It is a strange relief. Nothing unseen, nothing lurking in darkness. Among the countless points of light, a few stand out by their color. Some shine with a gentle red or amber hue, the cool glow of aged giant stars nearing the end of their lives. Others shine white or pale blue, distant young stars shining through from beyond. The interplay of these colors across the crowded sky is subtle, yet breathtaking. These hues are muted by the dense light around us, but they hint at the variety of stellar lives present here. It is as though all the chapters of a star's life story are written in this glowing tapestry. In one glance, we see old and young, gentle and fierce, all dancing their own way in harmony. Each point of light here is itself a massive sun, likely orbited by its own worlds. Each is a story, a solar system, a single note in the grand symphony of the galaxy. Yet collectively, they form a harmony so profound we feel it in our souls. This sight is both humbling and uplifting. The great sea of stars reminds us that our sun is just one small part of a vast, interconnected, cosmic community. It brings a warmth to our hearts. In that unity of light and existence, our own concerns feel small. We become part of something much greater. We feel our own motion as we drift through this stellar crowd. But it is subtle. It is as if we move like a slow, silent dancer among the lights. Around us, stars remain mostly fixed, but at the edges of our vision, new ones appear, while others fade away. We glide on a slow, silent current of gravity, drifting further into the heart of the galaxy, without hurry or worry. The motion is smooth and consistent, as though space itself carries us forward in serene procession. It feels like floating on a calm river of stars, each moment drawing new vistas, every passing second revealing more of this golden expanse. This light around us feels warm and familiar. It might comfort a wandering traveller, like a million distant campfires dotting the universe. One could almost feel at home in this gentle glow, despite being millions of light years from anything we know. We realize that light alone is enough to make a place feel inhabited and safe. We don't need trees or ground here. The light is life itself. It is as if the galaxy wraps us in a safe blanket of illumination, each star a welcoming beacon whispering, "You belong here too." Our thoughts drift freely in this place. Surrounded by so many stars, we cannot help but contemplate the vastness and beauty of this moment. Each gleaming point in the darkness invites reflection. Yet there is no urgency in our thoughts, no rush, just a sense of calm wonder. We take it all in, feeling simultaneously incredibly small and deeply connected to the grand tapestry around us. In the silence, in the soft golden light, a gentle understanding seems to awaken. We are both insignificant and vital to the whole. Our fears and worries from Earth feel distant and inconsequential now. The center of this brilliant sea holds a secret. Beneath the crowds of stars, we find a spot of profound darkness. It is an absence of light rather than a source of it. We drift closer, and around us, the stars seem to swirl a little faster, circling an unseen center. All that crowding radiance is arranged around this dark heart. It feels like the galaxy's silent heartbeat, calm and steady, as if something massive lies at the core, watching in quiet repose. We sense it even before seeing it, a powerful but peaceful presence that anchors everything. We can call it a sleeping giant. It holds a mass equivalent to millions of suns, yet it gives off no light of its own. All its power is hidden. Without the surrounding stars, it would be invisible, a pitch-black presence against the cosmic backdrop. It is a gentle giant for now, patient and tranquil. If it stirs, the results would be cataclysmic. But in this moment, it rests. It has lain here for billions of years, quietly shaping the orbits of the stars that circle it like moths around a flame, even as it remains as dark as night itself. It is awe-inspiring to think of such power lying so peacefully dormant. We feel the pull of its gravity even now, a subtle tug that is almost imperceptible. If we had the eyes to see, we might watch stars bending their paths ever so slightly as they pass near. It warps the space and time around it. Light that falls too close will spiral inward, but much of that happens far ahead of our journey. For us, it is a quiet companion on this voyage through the core. It seems indifferent to our presence, as if sleeping through our passage. We sense a stability, a reassurance that this enormous weight is holding the galaxy together even as we drift around it. Around the center, some gas and dust may still drift. If a cloud wanders too close, it could light up in a brief flare. But right now, the core is quiet, the gas clouds drifting harmlessly. We do not witness any violent outbursts here. Instead, we feel a deep calm, a stillness in the very heart of the galaxy. It is as if the black hole itself is in a meditative state, having feasted on so much matter long ago, now content to quietly observe the swirling stars around it. The silence is profound, as if the cosmos itself holds its breath around this sleeping giant. If we had the eyesight of an eagle, we might detect something strange at the very center. Light from stars behind the black hole might be warped into faint arcs or rings by its gravity, a quiet mirage in the starry night. From this distance it's barely noticeable, but the stars there would appear to twinkle and bend subtly. It is as if an invisible lens is focusing a ghostly halo of light around the darkness. We can imagine the gentle curvature of space around this sleeping giant, bending the paths of photons that dare to pass too close. Even that unseen warping feels delicate, as if space is softly pliable rather than jagged. In a way, we are lucky to observe it in such a peaceful state. Galaxies with active black holes blaze brilliantly with jets of radiation. But here, we see nothing of that drama. Just the slow, silent dance of stars. If the black hole stirs, it could awaken into a noisy, blinding fountain of energy. But that would be a story for another time. Right now, it simply sleeps, letting us admire the cosmic city it guards. We feel grateful for this gentle view. It is as if the Milky Way is showing us its heart at a moment of rest. We see no brilliant accretion disk, no jet of energy. The black hole shows no obvious sign of feeding. It is not drawing in the bright fireworks of gas. Instead, any surrounding matter coasts by gently. It might even be considered dormant. There is nothing violent to disturb us. No bright flashes, no glowing disk. It sits at the core like an empty whirlpool, deceptively calm, as though it has already consumed all that it could for now. Its tranquility is almost touching, considering what it could be. The emptiness itself becomes meaningful, a sign of peace. Despite being invisible, it holds the galaxy together. Like an anchor in a gentle sea, it guides the paths of stars, even from afar. The galaxy itself is balanced around this silent hub. We sense that our journey in some way is connected to it. We revolve around the Milky Way, just as these inner stars do. All motions here lead back to that dark center. Even as it rests, its presence shapes the destiny of the galaxy. We feel grateful for that hidden anchor. It is reassuring to know there is a kind of order keeping everything grounded, even if we cannot see it. The black hole does not float alone. It sits in the midst of a dense star cluster at the very center. A swirl of stars orbits within just a few light years of it, their combined light accentuating its darkness. From our vantage, it looks almost like a void, painted in the center of a golden halo. But for those stars, this massive anchor dominates every moment of their existence, steering their fates in silent majesty. It is as if a king of darkness holds court, and all the stars near him pay their respects through graceful orbits. Their combined presence is a testament to how all scales of the galaxy are linked together. Our sun itself is a mere speck next to this. We realize how small our own corner of the galaxy is by comparison. From here, we could reach out and circle the entire solar system with the width of our thumb. It is humbling to comprehend. This sleeping black hole and its stellar companions dwarf everything we know from Earth. They remind us that what is commonplace for one planet is only a tiny part of the cosmic tapestry. Here, at the galactic core, such enormity feels both distant and intimately close at the same time. In this context, our sun is a humble citizen of a vast empire of stars, and we travel among its nobles. We think of the event horizon, the boundary of no return, as a strange veil. But here, in our minds, it feels more like a calm border. We stand safely afar, beyond its invisible reach. We are merely visitors in this silent kingdom. This edge of everything holds its mysteries well. Perhaps one day we might venture closer, but for now, it is enough to gaze in awe from a respectful distance. We feel no fear, only respect and curiosity. The idea of a point of no return is abstract here, overshadowed by the profound beauty surrounding us. For now, we pause in wonder at this sleeping giant. Surrounding it, the stars continue their timeless dance. It is a subtle reminder. The black hole may slumber, but its influence choreographs the motions of its stellar neighbours. In this hushed space, we sense an invitation to watch their cosmic ballet. The dynamic between darkness and light, silence and movement, fills us with peaceful fascination. We stay a while, savouring every subtle shift in the starry dance. All around the dark centre, the stars begin to move. Around the sleeping giant, these suns perform a slow, graceful dance. We watch as individual stars trace out quiet arcs through space, each one following an invisible choreography. Some path around in nearly perfect circles, while others follow long, sweeping ellipses. Their motions are governed by gravity's gentle rule, an ancient dance step programmed by the massive core. Together, they form a vast cosmic ballet, a scene of serene motion against the silent backdrop of space. It feels orchestrated, yet natural, like watching leaves swirl in a gentle wind. There is no chaos, only grace. In this galactic ballet, time moves slowly. These stars take years, even centuries, to complete a single revolution around the center. One bright star might be just at the beginning of its orbit, steadily curving around the darkness. Another is further along, tracing out more of its path. If we stayed long enough, we would see them circle back to their starting points. But even without waiting, we can sense the rhythm, always graceful, never rushed. Each star moves at its own pace, yet their dance is perfectly synchronized by gravity. It reminds us that the universe has its own clock, slow, steady, eternal, and we are lucky to witness even a single beat of it. In this crowd of dancers, no two are exactly alike. Some stars are smaller and dimmer, others are giants blazing brightly. A red giant might move majestically in a slow arc, while a small white dwarf twirls more leisurely, barely noticeable to the naked eye. Each one follows its own path, yet together they create a mesmerizing pattern. Watching them, we feel that every point of light has a purpose, a part of a story that has unfolded over millennia. We are witnessing an ensemble performance with countless performers, each contributing uniquely. It is humbling and thrilling, like being backstage at a cosmic opera. Some stars are old and red, glowing softly like embers in a hearth, and others are young and blue-white, bright and vibrant. The mixture of colours gives this dance an extra beauty. Their varied hues are like the costumes of dancers on a stage. In the darkness around the black hole, the red giants glide as if swathed in soft velvet, while the hotter, younger stars spin like bright sparks. This subtle colour palette adds texture to the otherwise silver glow of the scene. We look for patterns, gentle contrasts, and find them everywhere, making the choreography richer and more touching. Sometimes the dance steps repeat. A star that completed one orbit may come around again, following the same celestial track. This creates a rhythm to the performance. A cycle might complete in a decade or stretch over 1,000 years, but eventually each star finds itself back where it started. It is a gentle echo of the cosmic metronome. If we were watching long enough, the patterns would slowly reappear, a reassuring loop of light. This repetition gives the galaxy a sense of memory and stability. The dancers know their parts, and the show goes on. We might notice occasional companions moving together. Some stars travel in small pairs or loose groups, their orbits intertwined. They sometimes appear as if dancing with a partner, flirting around each other under the pull of gravity. Such binary or clustered movements add variation to the vast ballet. It is a reminder that even among this multitude, intimate partnerships can form, adding a delicate step to the grand routine. Seeing a pair of stars entwined, we feel affection for the cosmos. Even here, relationships blossom. We notice that nothing here rushes. Even a star sweeping close to the center, feeling the black hole's strongest pull, does so with delicate precision. It speeds up, but never frenzies, always guided by the invisible laws. It is as if we are watching ice skaters in space, gliding on a rink of gravity rather than ice. Every motion is smooth. Even the fastest stars maintain a dignified pace. That steadiness is soothing. It suggests a cosmic confidence. No one hurries, because nothing is in danger of missing its cue in this eternal dance. The motion of these stars also illustrates invisible threads that bind this region together. We sense a pattern in the way they move. Those closer to the center dance faster in tighter circles, while those farther out take longer, wider routes. This is gravity's gentle choreography at work. No matter how they move, all the orbits feel harmonious, as if each star has its own melody that blends perfectly into the whole symphony. It is humbling to feel that even this part of the galaxy follows such an elegant design. The threads of gravity connect everything, reminding us again of unity. Look closely, and you might notice that some of these orbits are slightly elongated. A star might swing out to one side and then curve back in, tracing out a long, sweeping ellipse. Others circle gently in nearly perfect circles. This variety in orbital shapes adds another layer to the ballet. From our vantage, it would take years to see one of those elliptical tracks complete, but we know the shapes are there. It is like imagining the trails behind fireflies on a dark evening. Invisible lines are drawn across space by these distant lights, each in its own subtle trajectory. If we shut our eyes and just imagine, we might hear the soft sounds of this movement. Perhaps a hum or a distant chime rings with each stellar orbit. The metaphorical music is slow and harmonious. It has no sudden crescendos, only a sustained tone, like a string of bells gently ringing far away. Even in our minds, this silent symphony feels never-ending. The knowledge of it fills us with peace. It is as if the universe is comforting us with a lullaby written in the motions of stars. Among the old dancers, there are also younger performers. A relatively new star may have burst forth from a gas cloud here and joined the dance. It might still be surrounded by nebulosity or moving in a slightly different path. Even this young star is following the same cosmic steps, slowly joining in the rhythm of the vast ballet. Seeing its initial progress reminds us that life continues at the center, as well as at the edges. No matter where we go, the galaxy is giving birth to new light. We cannot hear their dance, but in our minds, we imagine a soft melody playing. Each star contributes a note. Perhaps the deeper voices hum low as the massive stars sway, and the high notes come from those zipping along the faster tracks. This silent music of orbits soothes the mind. In the gentle flow of this ballet, all is calm and balanced, a cosmic harmony that stretches across light years. In this moment, even the vast empty spaces seem to hold music in suspension. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this galactic ballet is its timelessness. It has been playing for millions of years and will continue for millions more. Compared to these scales, our brief journey here is a mere blink. We realize we are witnessing something eternal, a pattern that would continue long after any human memory. In this way, the dance brings a sense of permanence and tranquility to the cosmos, linking past, present, and future in one continuous flow. We feel part of that continuity, an unwitting guardian of this sight. From our vantage, we catch only snapshots of their paths. Each moment reveals the galaxy's center in a slightly different way. At times, two stars may line up, their orbits intersecting in our line of sight, creating a brighter point of light. At other moments, a star may slip behind another, hidden in shadow. This interplay of positions adds a subtle flicker to the scene, as if the dancers occasionally pass behind each other on stage. It's a gentle effect, a smile passed between performers. We enjoy these brief spectacles, tiny surprises in the grand routine. Sometimes, a star wobbles slightly in its path, tugged by another passing too close. We might imagine two dancers briefly intertwining before continuing on their separate ways. These gentle interactions are rare, but tell us much about their motions and masses. Even such minor pirouettes become part of the grand performance. Everything here moves together, and each movement, no matter how small, is part of the ballet. Witnessing even that tiny exchange reminds us of the connectedness here. One star's whisper affects another's choreography. High above this galactic stage, the black hole itself remains a silent observer. It watches its stars with an unchanging presence. It is like the conductor of an orchestra that does not play but sets the tempo. From its resting place, it feels every pull and gives every push, but never interferes with the beauty of the dance. It is a leader that trusts its performers completely. Its silence is profound. We imagine it as wise and patient, letting the stars take the spotlight while it holds steady. This cosmic dance is peaceful and ongoing. Stars have been orbiting this way for eons, and they will continue long after we pass by. We watch in quiet reverence, understanding that the dance is the real wonder, more than any one participant. No one star is better than another. Together, they create the flowing tapestry. It is an eternal performance, written in starlight. No curtain will fall here. The show goes on forever. We feel honored to be a part of this audience. Even amid all that motion, the very core of the galaxy holds a profound stillness. We settle into the calm center itself. After all the swirling lights and dancing stars, there is a place of gentle quiet. We imagine ourselves pausing here, the movements of the galaxy feeling like a slow breath. It is as if the cosmos, having swirled everything around, finally holds still for a moment at its very heart. We linger in this cosmic silence, feeling its softness like a quiet blanket over space. The core has become an inner sanctuary for us. The air, if there were any air, here is as calm as a still dawn. We hear nothing but our own breath in imagination, as if the galaxy itself were holding its breath. Stars around us still shine, but their light feels as gentle as candlelight in a dark room. Even the faintest changes, a star moving in its orbit or a distant gas cloud drifting by, seem almost frozen. Time feels stretched. We feel connected to ages and epochs in a tranquil way. In this suspended moment, the entire Milky Way feels at rest. Looking outward, the galaxy now feels like a calm sea under a moonlit sky. We have no sense of motion anymore. The center does not move, even though everything around it turns. We reflect on what we have seen, the vibrant life and dance of stars, the unseen but mighty heart of the galaxy. These thoughts settle peacefully in our minds. In this moment, we simply watch and absorb the quiet majesty of the very core of our galaxy. The beauty here, we realize, is not only in motion, but in balance. This stillness is not empty. It is full of meaning. It reminds us of the immense balance of the cosmos. The mass of the central black hole, the countless stars, and the swirling gas have all come to equilibrium here. A gentle stability holds everything together. We sense it as a kind of cosmic heartbeat that is calm and steady. In the heart of the galaxy, there is perfect balance, a quiet center that holds sway over the surrounding motion. It is as if the entire Milky Way beats in time with this heart. We feel small and significant all at once. Surrounded by this silence, our thoughts float free. We think of how every part of this galaxy connects together. From the edges of the Milky Way to this point, we carried with us the memory of light and motion. Here, at the very center, everything seems to pause for clarity. And even as we stand, or rather drift, in this calm hub, we know the voyage continues beyond this point. This realization brings a gentle excitement. Our journey is not over. It is taking a quiet breath here. The galaxy hums around us with an everlasting quiet whisper. Though our voyage into the heart of the Milky Way feels complete, we understand that this is merely a moment of rest. There is so much more to explore beyond this still center. Our journey will continue, carried on by the same gentle currents that have guided us here. But for now, we simply remain here in stillness, cherishing the soft, eternal quiet of the galaxy's heart. We carry this serenity within us as we prepare to venture outward again. We could stay here in this silence forever, but our journey gently calls us onward. Even as we begin to drift away from the core, its stillness stays with us. We carry this serenity into the next phase of our voyage, hearts and minds calm and open. What we have witnessed here at the heart will remain a guiding light as we continue outward. For now, this tranquil moment holds us together, a quiet bridge between what has been and what will come. It occurs to us that this entire galaxy, with its spirals and starry rings, extends around this still point, the familiar band of the Milky Way, which from Earth arcs across the sky, must encircle us here in gentle waves. It is a living creature whose heart we now inhabit. All the cosmic light we have seen folds back into this still place. Even in the vastness beyond, everything eventually connects to this quiet center. We feel that unity deeply. Here we are inside the creature, part of its heart. We recall our journey here from afar, how long it took to get to this center. We have traversed tens of thousands of light years in our thoughts. Now, standing in this gentle silence, it feels like all that travel led to a still purpose. This moment was waiting here through eons, and we find it now, peaceful and unhurried. It gives a sense that the voyage was worth every light year travelled. The galaxy seems to welcome us. The centre smiles in golden quietude. In the quiet of the centre, we lose track of ordinary time. We feel connected to the ages, to the ancient past when the first stars formed here, and to the future billions of years hence. The present is infinite and serene. Perhaps this is exactly how the Milky Way dreamed of being visited, by calm, knowing travellers who would appreciate the gentle majesty at its core. We carry that dream with us as we move onward, content that we have honoured the galaxy's heart with our quiet presence. We drift away from the crowded brilliance of the galactic core, leaving behind the densest gathering of stars in our Milky Way. Back in that cosmic metropolis, countless suns throng together in a tight embrace, so many that their collective light bathes space in a perpetual glow. It is as if we are departing the bright centre of a great city at night, leaving behind streets filled with lights and energy. But as we gently propel ourselves outward, that intense radiance begins to soften. The golden haze of starlight that once surrounded us grows fainter with each passing moment. Behind us, the core recedes like a distant lantern, its warm light still illuminating the dust and gas that swirl in its vicinity. We travel on, crossing thousands upon thousands of light years. After a few hundred light years, the change is subtle. The sky remains rich with stars, but a hint of darkness grows at the fringes. After a few thousand light years, the core's glow has gentled significantly, shrinking to a radiant patch behind us. The starry backdrop ahead becomes noticeably thinner. By the time we have journeyed tens of thousands of light years from the centre, we find ourselves truly at the outskirts. The dense star clouds lie far in the distance, and around us space opens up, quieter and darker than we have ever experienced. We carry with us the memory of its vibrant energy, the heart of the galaxy, where stars are born in clusters, and ancient ones crowd shoulder to shoulder near the hidden black hole at the very centre. Even though we could not see it directly, we know that deep in the core, a supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A, resides. We imagine the whirling dance of stars that encircle it, racing through space under its powerful pull. Once, in the midst of the core's chaos, that dark hub was the quiet conductor of the stellar orchestra around it. Now, from our increasing distance, that central conductor falls silent to our senses, lost in the glow of the core's collective light. The black hole remains behind as a memory and a mystery, an unseen heart of gravity left far in our wake. In the core's absence, the cosmos takes on a more subdued aspect. The space between stars grows darker and more serene as the stellar crowd thins out. Where once our surroundings were alive with starlight on all sides, now gentle night encroaches between each distant sun. We slip beyond the central bulge's reach, leaving that concentrated sphere of ancient reddish stars and entering the flatter disk of the galaxy spreading before us. Here, new colours begin to reveal themselves against the darkness. Pale bluish glimmers mark clusters of young stars nestled in spiral arms, signposts of ongoing star birth scattered throughout the galactic disk. Their cool sapphire light contrasts with the warm golden glow we remember from the galactic heart. The environment around us grows calmer as well. We have left behind the turbulent forces that reign in the core. The powerful gravitational tides and bursts of radiation near the galactic center have given way to a more peaceful cosmic background. In turn, we find ourselves relaxing into this calm. Our senses, once dazzled by the core's brilliance and stirred by its frenetic energy, now bask in a gentler realm. The silence and dimming glow are soothing, like stepping from a noisy, bright plaza into a quiet night garden. We feel our very being aligning with the slower, softer cadence of this outer region, our thoughts becoming as calm as the space around us. In the inner sanctuary, we escaped. Space was alive with energy. Flashes of X-rays and gamma rays from tumultuous events near the central black hole, and wisps of magnetized clouds arcing above the core in enormous bubbles. Now, however, those dramatic phenomena lie far behind us. Out here, the galaxy's voice is softer. We drift in relative tranquility, hearing only the steady, faint hum of starlight and the whisper of interstellar breezes. Further out, a vast circling band of star formation comes into view. It is like a wreath around the inner galaxy, a ring of gas and dust about 5,000 light-years from the center, where new stars are being born in great numbers. Bright nebulae glow softly in this ring, painting the darkness with swathes of pink and blue. In places, thick ribbons of cosmic dust weave through the starlight, appearing as gentle shadows against the glow. Stellar nurseries here nurture clusters of hot young stars that radiate a piercing light. Yet from our vantage, their glow is diffused and gentle. We float through this realm of creation in quiet awe. In the distance, towering clouds of interstellar mist drift lazily, illuminated from within by the fresh stars they cradle. Each cloud is like a tenuous beacon in the night, marking where the galaxy renews itself, even as we journey onward. Passing beyond this fertile ring, we leave behind the most active regions of starbirth. The sights and sounds of the galactic center's bustle gradually yield to a calmer expanse ahead. Occasionally, we still encounter traces of the spiral arms that once sculpted the galaxy's form. Out here, a spiral arm is a mere whisper of its former self, a faint congregation of stars and gas clouds drifting in the vast dark. We cross one such tenuous arm at the galaxy's outer fringe. It unfurls before us as a scattered archipelago of star clusters and nebulae, sparsely connected by filaments of starlight. Within this outer arm, a few newborn stars shine white-blue, their light stark against the blackness. They are the last embers of star formation in a region nearly devoid of fuel. Wispy nebulae linger here too, faint and ghostly. These clouds are far more diffuse than the vibrant nurseries closer to the core. They glow dimly, like dying embers, with only small sparkles of new stars igniting within them. Passing through this final spiral arm feels like listening to the distant echo of a once thunderous song. The grand spiral pattern that dominated nearer to the center has almost sung itself to silence here at the edge. We traverse this tenuous arm patiently. Stars that form this final spiral fragment appear one by one on the horizon of our journey, then quietly drift past and recede into the night behind us. Each small cluster or lone star in the arm becomes a milestone in the vast emptiness, a waymarker of light in the dark. After each, we find stretches of solitude until the next faint glow emerges ahead. In this way, we gently hop from one sparse outpost to the next, savouring the calm between them. There is no rush. The galaxy's outskirts encourage a slow, reflective pace. We glide onward, letting the arm's final embers guide us until they too fade away. Out at these distances, we notice the galactic plane itself is no longer perfectly flat. The Milky Way's disk bends gently upward and downward in a vast, subtle wave. Our trajectory follows this curvature, rising slightly as the starlit plane curves like a cosmic ribbon. Below us and above us, the few remaining stars follow the warp of the galaxy, sprinkled like sparse lights along a softly undulating path. This warping of the outer disk adds to the sense that we are at the very fringe of the known structure, riding the edge of a swirling, bending sea of stars. As we push even further toward the edge, the loneliness of this realm becomes tangible. Now and then we come across a solitary star, perhaps a bloated red giant or a small, dim dwarf, quietly burning in isolation. One such lone star appears ahead, glowing with a gentle amber light. It may once have been part of a cluster or a spiral arm, but it now drifts alone, a wanderer on the galaxy's outskirts. We take a moment to glide past this lonely sun, reflecting on how even in solitude it continues to shine, a tiny beacon in the vast darkness. It illuminates nothing but a faint halo of its own light, yet its persistence feels hopeful against the encroaching night. Soon we leave it behind, and it becomes just another distant pinprick among the sparsely scattered lights in our wake. In this profound solitude, we discover a gentle tranquility. The scarcity of stars means the space around us is mostly true night, an almost pure darkness, undisturbed by frequent lights. But rather than unsettling, the emptiness is soothing. It feels as though the galaxy is giving us a moment of rest, a quiet interlude far from its bustling regions. Here our thoughts can wander as freely as our path, unburdened by bright distractions. We find a subtle comfort in the vast stillness, as if the universe is whispering a lullaby in silence. At last, the Milky Way's stellar disk trails off into near emptiness. We have reached a place where the galaxy's presence is a faint whisper. Ahead of us in the plain, almost no new stars beckon, only the infinite void stretching to intergalactic space. Finding fewer points of light forward, our gaze drifts upward and downward, away from the plane of the galaxy. In the darkness above, we notice a subtle glitter that is not the flat plane of the Milky Way, but rather a halo of distant clustered lights. These are the ancient star clusters and lone stars of the galactic halo, hovering around the galaxy like a sparse, glowing halo of fireflies. Freed from the bright distractions of the spiral arms, we can now see these dim guardians clearly. They have been silently circling the Milky Way for eons, and now they beckon us to explore the lofty domain of the halo. We leave the galactic plane behind and ascend into the Milky Way's halo, a lofty realm far above the crowded disk. As we rise, the panorama unfolds beneath us. The entire galaxy's spiral disk becomes visible as a glowing, wispy band of light below, while the surrounding space grows darker and wider. Drifting in this sparsely populated halo, we are greeted by the quiet sentinels of the galaxy, the ancient globular clusters. These clusters hover in the galactic outskirts like golden lanterns in a vast night, each one a densely packed sphere of stars that has presided over the Milky Way for billions of years. We draw nearer to one of these venerable clusters. From afar, it appears as a hazy ball of light, but as we approach, it resolves into countless individual stars swarming together. This globular cluster is like an ancient city of stars suspended in space. Hundreds of thousands of suns are packed into a globe only a few hundred light-years across. Towards its core, the stars crowd so closely that the sky there would be flooded with brilliance. Were we to stand on a planet inside this cluster, night would never truly fall. Dozens of nearby suns would cast a perpetual twilight, filling the heavens with a jeweled radiance. Here at the cluster's edge, we witness the gravitational ballet of these stars. They orbit their cluster's center in random yet harmonious paths, like a swarm of fireflies circling a common point. Despite their great numbers, they move with a collective grace, held together by their mutual gravity in this cosmic hive. Not every globular cluster is exactly the same. Some are even denser and more compact than this one, with stars pressed still closer together in the core. Others are a bit more diffuse, their stars splayed in a looser ball, as if time has let them wander slightly from the cluster's heart. As we continue through the halo, we glimpse another cluster in the distance, a more sparsely populated one, its glittering members fewer and spread farther apart. It has a ghostly beauty, like a delicate cobweb of stars suspended in space. Each cluster we encounter carries a unique pattern, but all share the ancient, tranquil spirit of the halo. The stars in this cluster are among the oldest in the galaxy. They formed when the universe itself was young, long before our sun was born. In their light, we see a primordial era, a window into the galaxy's youth. We wonder what those ancient suns have seen in their lifetimes. Perhaps even planets may circle some of them, frozen relics orbiting quietly for eons while the Milky Way changed around them. These clusters are cosmic time capsules, and in their collective glow, we glimpse ages long past. It's humbling to realize that these same stars have watched the Milky Way's spiral arms rotate over and over, surviving cosmic events and changes that spanned eons. Many globular clusters, like this one, likely began as independent gatherings of stars, perhaps even small galaxies that the Milky Way captured in ages past. Some clusters follow elongated or even retrograde orbits around the galaxy, their paths distinct from the flat rotation of the disk. They wander high above and below the galactic plane, true galactic nomads bound only loosely by the Milky Way's gravity. All around the galaxy, more than 100 globular clusters like this are scattered in the halo. They form a sparkling halo of their own, an entourage of the Milky Way that extends out nearly 100,000 light-years or more from the center. 90% of them lie within about that distance, clustering closer to the galactic core, but a few bold ones roam much farther. Some, like lone sentinels, are found nearly 200,000 light-years out, almost halfway to the next galaxy, before slowly turning back on their orbits. They truly deserve the title of guardians of the halo, ancient, enduring, and keeping watch at the frontier of the Milky Way. Yet even beyond these gleaming clusters lies something more, an invisible halo of matter enveloping the galaxy. We cannot see this dark halo, for it emits no light, but its gravity is all around us, extending hundreds of thousands of light-years into space. This mysterious dark matter forms an unseen scaffold that holds the Milky Way together, gently guiding the orbits of stars, clusters, and clouds. It is a silent presence, felt but never observed directly, a final ghostly guardian that keeps watch in the outermost darkness. Floating among these ancient guardians, we feel the weight of cosmic history hanging gently in the silent void. There is a timeless quality here, The usual measures of years and centuries feel trivial in the company of objects that have existed for nearly the age of the universe. Yet despite their unimaginable antiquity, the globular clusters shine on steadily, unfazed by the passage of time. Their steady light and enduring presence impart a sense of calm and continuity to the galaxy, a reassurance that amidst all change, some lights persist. In the tranquil darkness of the halo, we absorb this lesson in endurance and serenity. We too become quiet and still, drifting respectfully under the gentle glow of these stellar elders. Our journey now carries us deeper into the outskirts, where even these ancient lights begin to thin out and the starlight grows ever more faint. Gradually, as we push beyond the last outlying cluster, the glow of the Milky Way diminishes behind us. We have ventured beyond nearly all of our galaxy's stars now. The last of the globular clusters we passed has begun its long journey back toward the galactic core, arcing inward on its ancient orbit. But we continue outward, forging ahead into the cosmic dark. With each passing light year, familiar starlight grows fainter. The points of light that once surrounded us have thinned to almost nothing. In front of us stretches an almost starless expanse. It is a silence of light. The deep space ahead holds few, if any, stars from our galaxy to brighten it. For the first time, we truly experience interstellar darkness in its pure form. Here, the interstellar medium is little more than a whisper, a few stray atoms drifting in an otherwise perfect void. The nearest star may be tens of thousands of light years away. The effect is an almost complete darkness, a hush that extends unfathomably ahead. The void surrounds us gently, like a velvety blanket draping the cosmos in quiet. We are, for the first time, truly stepping into intergalactic space, the vast gulf between galaxies. There is an invisible borderline here, a threshold past which the Milky Way's hold weakens and the open universe begins. As we cross this boundary, a subtle shift in our journey occurs. We can sense the freedom of being unbound. Only the gentlest tug of our galaxy's gravity remains, and even that fades with each passing mile. We have stepped beyond the doorstep of our galaxy, into the untamed sea between star cities. The Milky Way's gravitational embrace has loosened. We drift freely now in a realm with hardly any trace of our galaxy's matter or light. Behind us, the collective glow of billions of stars has shrunk to a pale silvery haze, a ghostly band marking where we came from. It spans only a small portion of the black sky now, a far cry from the broad river of light we once saw overhead when we were within it. Now the Milky Way lies as a detached object in the firmament, subtly glowing like a remote cloud. We marvel at how our perspective has shifted. What was our entire sky is now just a delicate mist among the stars. Ahead of us lies an almost perfect darkness, pristine and undisturbed. The emptiness here is breathtaking in its purity. There are no nearby stars to cast shadows or give shape to the void. Space itself feels clean and untouched. It is as if we are floating in a great cosmic ocean at night, far from any shore, with only the faintest starlight reflecting off the waves of emptiness. Without the Milky Way's nearby stars, the broader universe now comes into subtle view, speckled across the deep black. If we look closely, are faint smudges and points of light that were previously hidden by our galaxy's glow. These are other galaxies, distant island universes shining softly from millions of light years away. One of them, a delicate blur off to one side, is the great Andromeda Galaxy, our Milky Way's sister in the local group. It hangs quietly in the void, a reminder that beyond our home galaxy, countless others await in the darkness. The farther we gaze, the more the cosmos reveals its grand tapestry. Dim clusters of galaxies, filaments of matter, and the faint background glow of starlight from the farthest reaches of the universe. All of it is muted and gentle, almost imperceptible, a background whisper of light that hums behind the silence. Here, adrift in the intergalactic dark, we pause in reverence. Our home galaxy lies behind us, a shining island in the void, and we stand at the threshold of an endless sea. A tender wistfulness mingles with profound awe in our hearts. We have slipped beyond the warm embrace of the Milky Way, yet we do not feel lost. The gentle glow behind is like a distant hearth, and the vast darkness ahead invites us with its quiet promise of discovery. In this moment of stillness, we simply float, cradled by the silence, our thoughts as weightless as stardust. We are a tiny speck in an unfathomable expanse, but never have we felt more connected to the cosmos. With a slow, deliberate turn, we now face the Milky Way itself, ready to behold our galaxy from the outside, a final, breathtaking vista on this voyage across the stars. Before us floats the Milky Way in its entirety, a magnificent, ethereal disk of starlight suspended in the darkness. We finally see our home galaxy from the outside, as a traveller might behold a distant island after a long voyage across the sea. The Milky Way spans before us as a softly glowing spiral, its billions of stars blending into a luminous haze. The galactic disk is thin and wide, with a gentle bulge at its centre, where the core shines intensely. Bright wisps of its spiral arms wind outward from that core, their shape hinted by curving bands of light and dark. We can discern subtle spiral structure, luminous regions where clusters of young stars and nebulae clump together, and dimmer gaps where cosmic dust obscures the light, forming winding dark ribbons across the disk. From our vantage point, slightly above the galactic plane, the pattern of the Milky Way is like a graceful pinwheel, delicate, sprawling, and serene. Embracing the galaxy is a dim halo, sprinkled with those ancient globular clusters we visited. They now appear as tiny, faintly twinkling outposts encircling the Milky Way, like a sparse halo of pearls. We recognize their subtle glimmers scattered above and below the disk, forever loyal in their orbiting vigil around the galactic core. On one side of the Milky Way's disk, we spot two gentle companions, the large and small Magellanic Clouds, small satellite galaxies that hover nearby. They resemble pale, glowing wisps, little star cities accompanying our galaxy on its journey through space. Seeing these familiar neighbours from this perspective gives a sense of the Milky Way's family. Even out here, it is not alone, but part of a close-knit cluster of galaxies moving together through the universe. For a long while, we simply gaze at this galactic panorama. In this single view, all the chapters of our journey come together. We see clearly each realm we traversed. There is the Milky Way's core, the glowing central bulge that we departed, now just a concentrated amber light at the galaxy's heart. There are the spiral arms we journeyed through, spreading out in elegant swirls, their once up-close star fields now merged into delicate, diffuse bands of light. And around it all lie the outer reaches and the halo, which we drifted through so quietly. They form a tenuous envelope around the shining disk, barely visible except for a sprinkling of clusters and a few satellite galaxies. Our entire voyage, from the core's brilliant throngs through the quiet outskirts and into the halo, is encapsulated in that delicate galactic form suspended before us. It is a humbling sight to see the grand entirety of the Milky Way floating in the infinite dark, one galaxy among countless others. The immense Milky Way that once encompassed all our experience now hangs like a modest glimmer in a vast expanse, a single gem in an endless field. We truly grasp how our galaxy, for all its billions of stars, is but a tiny detail in the universe's grand design. In the stillness of this moment, we find profound peace. We are no longer travelers in motion, but silent observers, witnessing our entire galactic home as a tranquil work of art in the cosmos. All the wonders we encountered, the radiant core, the starry arms, the ancient halo, and the deep night beyond, have led us here to this gentle vantage point. A sense of oneness with the universe washes over us. The Milky Way, in all its vastness, feels like a single beautiful whole, and we, though tiny, are part of its story. We are humbled by the scale of what lies before us, yet profoundly grateful to have journeyed through it. The voyage across our galaxy has left us enriched with wonder and serenity. Drifting at the galaxy's edge, we allow ourselves to simply be, awash in starlight and serenity, the faint glow of countless stars, the soft darkness of infinite space, and the slow, eternal spin of the Milky Way lull us into a state of deep calm. We could remain at this spot indefinitely, simply floating and absorbing the quiet grandeur surrounding us, letting the galaxy's gentle glow and the infinite night be our only companions. Here, at the edge of our galactic voyage, we surrender to the quiet grace and majesty of the universe, letting the timeless peace of the stars cradle and comfort us through the endless night, through the